Welcome to Locksmith Late. I'm Jareth Garza. Joining me today is my co-host, Eric Duttweiler, also with the Locksmith Academy. How are you?
Good.
How's my audio? Am I doing good? Can
Sounds
you hear
good.
me?
Clear,
Good.
yeah.
Today we have a guest. His name is J.K. Walker. I don't know much about him. We met actually through this podcast. He was a commenter on one of our podcasts, and he reached out. We got to talking, and he seems pretty interesting. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in, and he can talk about himself, and we can find out who he is. Welcome, J.K. Walker.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Good, you?
Just living the American dream one day at a time.
I feel it. So let's talk about who you are and how do you do.
All right, so, I'm J.K. Walker with Mobile Automotive Diagnostics here in great old East Tennessee. For any of you out there watching, I'm probably about 30 minutes from Galtenberg, Pigeon Forge. That's that area that most people know around here for tourists, right? I'm originally from like Newport, Tennessee, where they filmed the Moonshiner show. So I guess you could say, I'm a little bit country, right? But I'm actually a mobile guy. I have a mobile business, and is what I actually started doing was, like programming PCMs, right? That's what I done. I done a lot of programming PCMs, diagnostics, electrical diagnostics, network diagnostics, things like that, and slowly branched into the automotive locksmith side of the industry.
So
So,
you've come a different route than most of my guests. You didn't start as a locksmith. You started as something else.
that's exactly right, and the reason for that is and I hate to say it like this, but I've got to a point where I would be so busy that a locksmith couldn't service me reliably, right? Because a lot of these cars now, when we're programming a PCM, well, and for Fords have been like this for a long time, they've got to have two keys cut, right?
Yes.
And nobody ever has that second key, or it's a cloned key. It's not actually, they went up here to Co-op or the hardware store or somewhere like that. I even remember Walmart. I think at one time was doing like cloning some Ford keys or whatever back
Yeah.
there.
Those little
Yeah,
battery
they-
powered ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So that's most of the time what you would get for the second key or something like that. So the problem is I could do the repair and I could program the PCM, but we were always waiting. I was always waiting for that locksmith to show up and come do that part of cutting the physical key, which it worked out at to a certain point. But I would say, when COVID hit and things got so busy, because I don't know about you guys, but that was probably the most peak of busiest that I've ever been in business. It was just crazy. It's crazy the amount of work I had. It just got to a point where I could not be serviced fast enough. I couldn't wait, and I couldn't handle that going back for a second trip to make sure everything was fine after that.
Let me ask you real quick. Being on the outside looking in, were you exposed to locksmithing equipment before you started to be inquisitive about it, or is it something that was a new journey for you that you had to jump in and learn that whole field separately?
Well, it depends on which part of you're talking about that, though. Which part of the
Let's say
locksmithing?
like key machines and the tools that you would need to originate keys.
Okay, now the actual tools to originate keys and stuff like that, yes, that is something that I had to come into, right? That's just
Yeah.
something that I had to learn. Now, when it got to the IMO side and the programming and all that stuff, well, that stuff I pretty much knew most everything there was, and I'm just when I say most everything, of course, because you're never going to know everything, and if you think you ever know anything in this business, it's probably a good time to go ahead and check out and retire
Right.
because it's all going to change tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a pretty good understanding of the systems, the IMO systems, how they worked, and things like that, because I would have to do a lot of those diags, right? But yeah, it was new to me. It was coming into like actually, originating those keys, using Alicia, learning how progression worked, learning, like key cards and things like that. And that was kind of the jump for me to go from a programmer to doing keys. Was that part? The programming part was pretty easy because tool wise, I already had some of those tools, so it wasn't a big jump. Or the factory software. If I had the factory software, you can program keys a lot of the times with it. And now on some of these newer cars, that's the only way we can program them.
How long were you in business programming car computers before you had to make the jump into car key origination?
Well, that's kind of a. I would say that it's. I'm trying to think because I'd have to really. I started out originally as a technician, right? And that was, I'm going to be 35 this year. That was when I was probably like in my early 20s, like 20, 21. I started as a technician after, leaving college. So I was always the electrical guy. I was always that electrical and diagnostics guy, right? So I got into the programming. Ooh, that is a good question. When did I get into programming? What is 20? Probably 7-8 years ago, maybe. And then I was doing some stuff, and I had a mobile business, and I got offered a job with Snap-on Tools. So I was actually a diagnostic trainer for them and a rep for the diagnostic tools. So I would go around and do training sessions and things like that for them for like diagnostics.
Mm-hmm. For like Modus and stuff.
What?
For like the Modus and Solus.
Yeah, for the Modus, the Solus, the Zeuses, those tools like that.
So teaching people how to use them.
Use those and just basic diagnostic skills in general, right?
Okay.
Not just how to use those tools, but how to use, just a diagnostic process to diagnose a vehicle. Gotcha. So I left them around 2018. We split, and then that's when I went back into business for myself. And I failed at first. And I will say is I didn't have the most successful business at first. And one of the reasons of it is the area, and I contribute it to the area I'm in. And a lot of the times I come at people because they'll say, "Oh, well, it's different in my area," right? Yeah. And I have a sales background too. There was a time, when I was a technician, I got in a car wreck and I got into sales really heavily. And I was like a floor manager at a dealership. I was a guy that closed deals. But a lot of the times you hear people, "Oh, well, my market's different. My area is different. You don't understand." Well, that's not always the case. The only difference I had was as I was in such a small market. I don't know. Have you ever looked at like what's the population of where you're at, Jareth?
It's 110,000, but it fluctuates because we have like 5 colleges. So
okay.
During summer and winter break, it takes a nosedive. But generally, it's around 110,000.
Okay. What about you, Eric? You ever looked at that?
I think it's the last time I looked around 150,000.
I'm in a town of 30,000 people.
In just my county.
Yeah.
Just my county. I service multiple counties.
Yeah. So in my area right here, there's 30,000 people. They're surrounding the surrounding towns are pretty small.
Yeah.
So Knoxville's about an hour from me. Johnson City's for an hour from me. The problem of it is though, is like if you're in a bigger city or bigger area, like I know some guys up north or like Chicago area, and they're like, "Man, I drive an hour. What's it between stops?" I go an hour between stops. I was like, "Yeah, but the difference for you, an hour is like 10 miles down the road for you."
Yeah.
That's exactly true for Eric. Yeah.
And an hour for me is like 60 miles down the road. So it doesn't make sense to drive that far. So it was hard to get my business established, and it was because I didn't have the numbers to play that numbers game, right? And I was such a niche service that it was really hard, and that's why I had to learn to diversify and add things to my portfolio. So, it started out as I was the electrical and diag guy. Well, the case of it is you don't really make a lot of money doing electrical and diagnostics. In a mobile setting, right? Because once you get to a certain point, people just don't want to pay you for your time, right? Because they want to pay you for your time, but what they value your time at, right? It's not really what they pay you for the job. It's it's like this. You show up and do a charger, right? One of these chargers. Seriously, how long does it take you to make a key?
Less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, man, you're charging me $400 for this?"
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But if you took that same vehicle, brought it to a shop setting, you done it, they dropped it off in the morning, they picked it up at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
They would never question that bill.
And I say that all the time because the customer, with us, we drive to them and their home, so they're comfortable and they feel like it's their right to watch us and see everything we do. And so, kind of, it's an intimate invasion. You know what I mean? Whenever you're on their
Oh yeah.
property. So I totally get it. Yeah. I always say the same thing. Mercedes-Benz customer will pay $250 for an oil change, but they won't pay me $300 for a key,
Yeah.
Well, the thing of it is they should, right? And if you market them correctly, you will. And I'm really good at sales, right? And that's probably attributed to why I've been so successful in my business. Is I'm really good at sales when I want to be. There is sometimes that I do fire customers, and it's just because I'm like, listen, the time it takes to appease you, I just don't have that time to actually deal with you. One of the biggest problems in my business is there's just one of me. Right.
Yeah.
I don't have employees, and until you get to that point where you have employees, you do have to fire customers every once in a while because you can't deal with that person who's just a time vampire, right?
Yeah. Time eater. Yeah.
Yeah. And I lost a lot like that one time because every time I went there, the guy wanted to negotiate the price.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, well, see, I don't negotiate.
Same price for the last year, and you still want to negotiate.
I don't negotiate the price, and it was and I don't want to, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, and it really wasn't that maybe he's a bad guy. It was a cultural thing, right?
Well, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
By saying that, yeah.
And in his culture, that's normal to haggle.
It's almost taboo not to haggle.
Yeah, and it's he feels like if he doesn't haggle for at least 30 minutes and try to beat you out of the price, then he's not getting a good deal, right? And that's just how he feels. Well, is what I had to explain to him, and this is what I done, and this was the last job I ever done for him. And I will say, the guy would send me a lot of all keys lost jobs, right? Mm-hmm. He just had a used car lot. They have, just this insane amount of tote-to-note cars, right? And they would repo these things all the time. So I would go do these all keys lost jobs. And every time it was an argument. Like, you got to have 2 keys for this car on all keys lost. Oh, well, the other guy done it without 1 keys, and Car Keys Express, and yada, yada, yada. Then cool, call those guys, have them come do it. I don't have time to fool with you.
Yeah.
So is what I've done, and this was the last time I ever done anything for him because I told him, like, I can't do your work anymore because you're a time bandit. And that's what I told him. I was like, you're a time bandit. So what I done was I took my phone out and I went to the clock app here and I set that and we sat down and I'm giving him the bill and, I sit down and I go, where's it at? Right there. I go like this. I start the stopwatch and we start going. And finally, we're done, right? He decides he's going to cut me the check and we're done. And I said, hey, I want to show you something. And I stopped the clock and I said, all right, we're at 30 minutes. I said, I bill out at $180 an hour. You cost me $90 every time I do a job for you. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I really like doing your work. I do. I appreciate you sending me the work. I was like, I'm the only guy in this town that will deal with you at this point, right? Because he had so much business that he could really drown you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you spend all your time at that one lot, you can't service other people. I said, listen, nobody else wants to deal with you. And I said, I really appreciate your business, but here's the only question I have for you. Well, your legacy that you leave behind. Because I said, you can't take none of these cars with you. You can't take none of this money with you. I said, but do you really want your legacy to be that you're the cheapest guy in Morristown? Right? Because I can't. It's just that's what you give off. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't sit here and argue with you every single time we come here. I just can't do it. I'd rather just not do the work for you. So.
And that takes time, to develop that skill. I dealt with terrible used car dealers trying to get me to do things that they wanted me to do instead of the right way. And eventually, that with experience, you grow into being comfortable, firing certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, though, you said you started to really get into the key cutting during COVID because you had so much work. That's actually a common theme of like repo guys, tow guys, automotive shop guys getting into automotive locksmithing because COVID cut so many out of the equation that these guys had to solve their own problems. Is that basically what you're talking about, where your workload was becoming so strenuous on you, or I guess dependent on somebody else, that you decided to cut them out of the equation?
Yeah, because it's not that I don't like, the guy. I mean, the guy here, he's Access Unlimited here in Morristown. Anthony Laggins, he's a great guy. Me and him get along. He calls me, I call him. We all get along, right? I'm not undercutting him. He's not undercutting me. We have this very thing. It was just the fact of it's got to a point where I got so busy that I could not wait for somebody. Right. Does that make sense? Because I couldn't do it. Plus, I saw that there was a revenue stream there. And also, they could, and I don't think it's they maybe can't or they don't want to. They don't really service the commercial side. And now I'm saying commercial, when not you say commercial, most locksmiths think,
interchangeable core,
no, nothing like that. Right. They do all that stuff, right? But I'm talking more of the commercial automotive side.
Yeah.
I don't care to go do the car lots. I don't care to go do stuff for the mechanic shops and things like that. And one of the reasons for that is because when you do those car lots, or you do mechanic shops, or the one, when you do for those mechanic shops and stuff, if you don't have a strong set of diag skills, well then there's a lot of stuff you get called out for that, it's a key problem. You go out and you can't originate. And you can't do it. Well, then it puts you in a situation where, well, hey, I still got to get paid for these keys. Well, it didn't fix the car. Well, buddy, you didn't call me out here to fix the car. You called me out here to make you a set of keys. And then it becomes a difficult conversation. And now that's not saying that you're not going to get paid, because most of the time you're going to get paid, right? You're a locksmith. It would be crazy not to pay a locksmith. They have keys to stuff. No, that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, don't bounce a check. I can make a key for your car.
I tell people, don't screw a locksmith because I can sleep in your house at night.
Yeah, but I've not had anybody bounce a check on me, luckily. So, but when you look at it to that aspect, right? That's kind of the deal. It's just, if you don't have those strong set of skills, you're going to put yourself in bad situations. And it's not that they're not going to pay you, because you're going to get paid usually, right? But you're going to create a bad relationship, right? Because they're always going to see you as the asshole who came in, charged them $300, and then rolled out and was like, don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Yeah, not my problem.
Yeah, not my problem. And I've had it happen with me. I've went in, they've called and asked me to replace a PCM. I've replaced a PCM in a vehicle. It's not the problem. I still have to charge them for programming it. I still have to charge them for that PCM that I ordered.
And then how many times you get this? The PCM didn't fix it. Oh, well, can we just put the old one back and you program it again, and then not charge me to program the old one back in it?
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. So
I get a bunch of I call it the hillbilly repair. Like their Ford Econoline develops a misfire, and so they immediately assume it's an ECU problem. They pull into like an O'Reilly's, buy an ECU over the counter, call me because the security light's on and want me to program it. The moment it doesn't fix the problem, they, like you say, they'll look at me with their thumb up their butt, like, what do we do now? And I'm like, that's kind of up to you.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is, so a lot of these PCMs, so you say something like this, right? That's an E38. That's for like a 7 to 13 Chevy Silverado, right?
One sec. Let me pull you over here.
Yeah. And this fits a lot of Malibus. This fits a lot of Malibus as well. So this is like 7 to 13 Chevrolet Silverado ECM, or a Malibu of that era. It fits a couple different vehicles, right?
Yeah.
If you put that in a vehicle, even if it's, it's programmed, everything like that, you put that in a vehicle and they go, oh, I need you to come out and program keys because it's got a security issue. You're not programming keys to that, right? You understand that, right?
Yeah.
We'll go a little deeper. Like, let's talk about that. Like, why won't it work?
Because the keys, because you can do with your key when you're programming, right, that PCM,
Yeah.
you can learn that, but really on those is you're supposed to sync everything up.
Okay.
Now you may get lucky and it starts, right? But if it's not properly programmed, because whatever file's in there, right? If you're not using SPS to actually link that up and you're not using SPS to put the proper file in it, the card can have all kinds of issues. So I see a lot of that that comes in because somebody was able to change that VIN number with some kind of software, and a lot of these companies like that do mail order PCMs. Now what they're doing is they just take something off the shelf like I've got. They just change the VIN in it and they send it to you, and they're like, "Oh, pre-programmed with your VIN number."
I have actually experienced that like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, where a customer, especially on like Mazda tributes, it seems like they order a PCM because the car doesn't fire, call me out to add 2 keys or whatever because that's what they're told needs to be done, and it still won't fire. So I would love to know why. Well, why do we need to synchronize a module in order for it to allow the car to start?
Well, in a Ford, you have a parameter reset, right?
Yeah.
So in a Ford, you have a parameter reset, and in GM, you have, depending on the vehicle, when you go into Global A, it's a lot different. But you have a handshake that occurs, right? Now, here's a crazy one for you. On like the GM vehicles, the Global A stuff, which I don't know if you're familiar with Global A or have you ever heard that term.
I have
but
actually.
That's
Chevy Cruze introduced, I think, a BCM Global A, right?
yeah, it was like, well, the Cruze, I think it's the ECMs too. They use like some of them use like an E78, and there was a Global A version of that. So yeah, your camera's totally not focused.
Oh, it's so I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right, so basically,
There it goes.
with Global A is you have all these identifiers in different modules.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do a handshake. So basically, that handshake is going to transfer everything over. And it's kind of like what you're used to in European cars, where you have identifiers in all the different modules.
Right. Like,
It's pretty
like CS data and stuff like that in like a Volkswagen.
Yeah, and you're gonna lose me because I think I told you there's like three Euro cars in this whole town. I'm a truck guy, so anything you want to know about a truck, I can tell you. And last time I checked, ain't nobody driving Volkswagen trucks around here. So,
so each module shares data, right? Like they share data, and they have to match, right, or exchange the same data.
So, and here's the thing is you can sometimes they can get a module to work, a used module, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only like ever so often that it checks. And with a GM, you can corrupt. So if you put like a BCM in a vehicle that's got the identifiers wrong, right? Like the pin's wrong, it can actually corrupt all the other security modules in the vehicle. So I've seen people that like cause thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage because they throw a used part into some of these vehicles and they don't know.
So if a customer was one of the ones that I often see where they just want to solve their own problem and they throw a used part into a car, they ordered a key with a BCM and an ignition, etc. They did their own swapping. If they were technically putting the wrong part in, they could corrupt their whole car.
Yes, they can.
Oh, holy cow. How about that, huh? So would you need SPS or an OEM diagnostic tool in order to correct that issue?
Oh, no. Once you corrupt the modules, you might as well just go out here and throw them in the dumpster. They're done.
Is it unrecoverable from that point on?
Using conventional means, yes.
One might say that the means would exceed, I guess the reward, right?
Well, no, not actually, because there's a lot, but it's just going to require a call to some shady folks down in Mexico who can remote in and make some things happen using engineering software. But yeah, they can be saved.
Sounds a little backdoorsy.
Yeah, and it's very backdoorsy. It's very backdoorsy, and that's why I was like, can they be saved? Well, yeah, technically. Is the dealership going to save them? No. Are 99% of the people out here going to save them? No. So unless you're going to use some kind of backdoor method like that and have somebody, and plus you're not going to be able to use it, no offense or anything like that. You'd have to be somebody that's well versed in the specific software that it would require to do that. And even if so 99% of the time when a car happens like that, they just have to replace all the modules.
Man, that's crazy. Is there a car that you're aware of that is more inclined to corruption than others, or a system perhaps?
It's anything that's global A could happen. It could happen too.
Okay, for the uninitiated, what is a global A? Where can we find it?
So if you look up, let me find you the thing. I've got it in one of my PowerPoint, but I couldn't get it over to this computer. But yeah, somebody just said Camaros in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Michael did. So Camaros, yes, Camaros started pretty early. They started before anything after 2015 is it for sure.
See, Eric, okay. I was telling Eric, I was like, yeah, I know what global is because we used to always talk about double EEPROM on Chevy Cruze, because back whenever it was new, programmers for a limited time had trouble pulling pin codes. It was unreliable. And so you could double EEPROM the BCM to pull a pin code or, add your key. And eventually people were pulling out new BCMs and they're like, oh, these are a global A. We can't even touch these. There's no way to, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess interrogate them through double EEPROM, at least back then. Do you do any double EEPROM work on any of these?
What do you mean by double EEPROM?
Soldering to a board, reading with AR32 prog.
Hold up. Why do you call it double EEPROM though?
Fun fact. So every time I call John Dumont at AR Labs, he says double EEPROM. Okay. And
because it's like EEPROM?
There you go. And I asked him.
Oh, okay.
Listen, you got to hear me out. I asked him that, and he was like, Jared, EEPROM came before electronically erasable. I was like, how so? He's like, before electronically erasable, we used to erase or write with magnetism. And he sent me all these old pictures of memory boards and stuff. And so John, being somebody who has actually helped develop the technology, he's particular. And so I kind of picked it up from him.
Got it. So
he's looking at you. What the hell is double EEPROM?
I was like, when he's like double EEPROM, I'm like, golly, this must be something new to me.
Yeah,
I heard a double EEPROM, but then I started thinking, I was like, when he's saying double EEPROM, I bet he's meaning like EEPROM.
Yeah, because there's technically a difference between the two, but
yeah, there is a difference in EEPROM and EEPROM, and then you have emulated EEPROM as well, which is basically. There's not an actual physical EEPROM on the board. It's just an emulated part of the flash. Like that EEPROM is just an emulated part of the flash.
And when would you use something like that? Like for what application?
A lot of ECMs have that. Okay. So this ECM here,
mm-hmm.
Like you're not going to have an actual like EEPROM on the board.
So how would you read it, the data on that particular one?
For this one, the best thing to use is like LS Droid.
Okay.
There's a program called PCM Hammer. LS Droid does those PCMs really well, but LS Droid's the one to go. You would use something like the OBDX Pro, which is this tool here.
Let me bring you up on the full screen real quick. Bam.
So this tool here is a little dongle. It's about $140. You can get it from the guys at OBDXPro.com. This is an OBDX Pro GT. Now, here's also a fun fact about this. This is a fully J2534 compliant tool that will work with Techline SPS, right, for GM. Mm-hmm. It supports all the GM protocols. The only thing it doesn't support at this current time is KNFD. So anything GM, you will be able to program with this device.
That's pretty pound.
Yeah. Now, here's the cool part. They just came out with another one. It's called the FT. Now, this is going to do medium speed CAN, high speed CAN, and I think they've got J1850 PWN in here as well. So it'll do a lot of your Ford programming.
And how much is that one?
$140 as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
now compared to a Mongoose from Drew Tech, that will, the GM Mongoose is going to run you like $600.
Okay.
Now
how much would you say you have in your just your programming equipment alone?
I'm not going to say that because the wife's probably listening.
So a lot. a lot.
So how much do I probably have in programming equipment and stuff like that?
Yeah. He looks around. Shit.
I couldn't even tell you, man. I know I insure the ambulance for about $250,000.
Okay.
When you talk about stuff and some of the stuff of it, I have that's non-replaceable, right?
Yeah.
A lot of older tools and things like that. This is one I acquired here recently. This is a pretty cool tool. A DRB3 emulator. So, that's like a $3,500 tool right there. And that's just to do some older Chrysler stuff.
What does it do?
So that's for your older Chrysler stuff. So the Chryslers, there used to be a tool called the DRB3. Okay. And it's a handheld tool that kind of looked like a Take-Two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those things are failing. They're at the end of their life cycle, right? And that's kind of the problem with a lot of the tools is you still need some of these older tools every once in a while, but a lot of that older stuff, it's at the end of its life cycle. So it's not that I have just like one of something. It maybe I have multiples of it, right?
Yeah.
So you think of different J boxes and stuff like that because we figure, well, here's the micropod, right? Have you ever heard of like a micropod from
Mopar,
Chrysler?
Mopar, right?
Yep. Yeah. So this one's an AE Tools one too. So this one has been touched by Joey's hands. So that makes it like even more valuable, right? I don't know if you ever bought anything from AE Tools, but if you do, because you pay for it.
I used to have an email.
So, yeah, but this one here, this is a micropod. These were I think like $3,500 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they've replaced this one with the MDP. I've not got one of those yet. I haven't really seen a need for it because there's only like one or two cars now that's actually requiring it to have it. Something like the BCM2.
Real quick, Malachi has a question. What's the company that makes these? I think he's talking about those dongles you're showing for GM.
So the company that makes those dongles there is obdxpro.com, but obdxpro.com. That's Pete and Jason. Those guys are really awesome guys. And they've built some really cool tools. What they're doing is amazing.
So you started with the ECU and like TCM and stuff like that, right? Were you run into shops like you mentioned commercial locations at first? Were you a service tech that was working for someone else and servicing like mechanic shops, or did you start out just servicing public? How did you
I do not like the public.
Me neither.
And it's here's my biggest reason I don't like the public. It's not because of the money. The money's better when you deal with the public, right?
Yeah.
The money is, and it's not because I can't sell them. It's not because they're crazy. I don't care. You can be crazy. I don't care. I love crazy people, as long as they're crazy people with nice cars and big houses.
Right.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good.
But
cool.
here's my thing. Right. Is I can't schedule them. Right. That's my thing. When I'm so busy that with the shops, I go, okay, I'll get to you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I know that shop's open from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock or whatever their time is. I can get to them. Right. But with the public, when you really deal with the public, and if you're going to deal with the public, you need to have employees. You need to have multiple people. Because guess what? It's Wednesday, and everybody wants to get their keys after 3 o'clock when they pick up their kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to
Can you
do
meet me at my
till?
house at 6 p.m.?
Can you meet me on my lunch break? Well, no, because I got 5 other people that want me to meet them on their lunch break.
Public always wants me to meet on Sunday because they lose their keys Friday, Saturday partying, college town, and then they have to have the car to go to school. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's Sunday!" And I hit them with the Sunday price, and they're like, "WTF?" You know. So, public expectations are my enemy. It seems.
And so that's one of the things, it's that the public, it's not that I don't like the public or I don't care. I don't care because there's more money to be made dealing with the public,
The
right?
business plan is harder to include them.
Yeah, it's hard to include them because I can't schedule them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Also, the general public tells you how easily our job
actually is. Yeah.
Well, that's because they went and watched a YouTube video about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I tried to program this key 500 times. And that's another thing is I won't do customer supply keys or anything like that. I've had car lots that want to do their own key, they want to supply keys. I've had customers that want to supply their keys. I don't do that either.
How do you tell your customers no?
No.
Yeah. Do you just say no?
No. Is basically the way I handle that is and kind of like if you were a customer and you're like, what would you say? Just here, we'll do, because I do a lot of role playing.
All right.
So what would you say? Okay. So what do you say? Hey, like, how would you say it? If you
want me to be the caller and you be the locksmith?
Yeah, you can be the caller. I'll be the locksmith answer.
Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
Hey, how's it going? This is J.K. Walker. How can I help you today?
Hey, I've got a 2013 Ford Mustang and I have a key and I ordered one on Amazon. I actually ordered 2. It came with 2, but I only want you to cut one of them. Okay. And I was just wondering how much would it cost for you to cut my key?
Hey, no problem. How's it going? Hey, first off, what is your name, brother?
Why do you need to know my name? I just want a quote.
Oh, I mean, I understand that, but it's always nice to know who I'm talking to. But hey, if you don't want to give me your name, that's no problem.
Okay. I'm Hunter.
Okay. Well, hey, how's it going, Hunter? Well, I'm JK. So, let me ask you this: if this phone call was to get disconnected, you got a number I can give you a call back at?
Sure.
Cool. What is it? Yep, there you go. You gave me your number. All right. Okay. So now that we've got that out of the problem, so you said you have a 2013 Ford Mustang?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. No problem. Hey, what size engine does it have in it?
I don't know. I got it from my mom.
Okay. Cool. Do you happen to have the VIN number by chance to that thing? You got your insurance card or anything like that around?
I don't. I'm not near my car.
Okay, cool. Do you remember the key that you had originally for your car before you lost them? You know if it had any like remote start buttons or anything like that on it?
Well, actually, I have a working key right now. I just ordered 2 extras on Amazon, and I just.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So do those that look okay? All right, that's fine. Well, here's the thing about that, right? First off, are you going to come to us or are we coming to you?
Which is cheaper?
Well, it's always going to be cheaper if you come to us, and if you was to drop it off or something like that, or we could have one of our techs if they're here, they can go ahead and get it done while you're here. Yeah, it's always going to be cheaper if you come to us.
I can be by in like 15 minutes.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, if you want to bring it by, we can have a conversation about it. When'd you get here?
Okay, so how much are you going to charge me?
I don't really know. We're going to have to take a look at it and see what all the variables are. And those keys, were they OEM keys when you bought them, or were they generic keys? Do you know?
I don't know what OEM means.
Well, that would be a key that actually has it came in a bag with the Ford part number on it and probably had the Ford logos actually on the back of the key.
No, I don't think they are.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Bring them by and let's take a look at them. Okay. I don't want to give you a price because, with it not being an OEM key or anything like that, I can't really guarantee the outcome. And I really want to have a good outcome, right? Because I don't want you to be unhappy with the services we provide. But I'm going to tell you this. If you go ahead and stop by, I'm not going to charge you anything. Just take a look at those keys and see what we got going on, right? So if you could bring those by and let's just take a look at them. And I've got some keys here that we can compare them to, right? So if there is any differences, I can show you the differences in those, all right? So, yeah, just go ahead and come by, and then we'll try to get something sound good, right?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. We'll see you here in probably about 15, 30 minutes?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.
Look forward to seeing you, brother.
That's not bad. So you would encourage your customer to come into an environment to which you can kind of compel them, where you can educate them and show them, and
Yes.
you bring the learning to them essentially, instead of letting them just fill their own void with misinformation.
Yeah, because the reason is because they're going to call Eric, and Eric's going to say, "Screw you! I'm not using your keys. You're going to use my keys, right?"
Or
And
they'll
Actually,
call
I'm gonna
someone
tell them.
else and they will cut the key, no
I'm gonna
questions
tell them
asked.
$5 less than what I normally charge to make that key.
Yeah.
do we do what now?
I said I'm gonna charge them $5 less than I normally charge to sell
Yeah.
them the key.
Here's the thing, though, is I'm not going to do. I don't use those keys because I can't control the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can get money anywhere, right? I mean, I can go down here to the truck stop and crawl around the lot and probably make some money if I wanted to. But I don't want to make money that way, so I'm not going to sell my quality of work below because somebody wants to save $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk wasting time, and that's another thing is also you're going to waste time. You can't get that valuable, and Adam's got a great point. You can't get that time back. So the 30 minutes, the hour you spend trying to use their key, well, to a customer, right? And we're not talking about a commercial customer because a commercial customer is a little bit different than a customer.
Yeah, they can't
Right.
do that. Mm-hmm.
So to a customer, all they know is you didn't program the key. They don't want to pay you. Right? Or and that puts you in a position where you have to be the bad guy. And you never want to be the bad guy. You always want to be the good guy, right? In that scenario of customer and that, you don't want to be the bad guy. So that's what I do. And also another thing that I try to do is ask questions. So I ask you, do you have the VIN? What size engine in it? Stuff like that, right? Is that an LT or is that an LS truck? Do you happen to know? Does it have power windows or anything like that? Did it have remote start?
Does that
And the
correlate?
reason...
Does that correlate? Go ahead and tell me the reason. I want to know the reason, actually, now that you...
Because when he calls you and you don't ask those questions, even though I'm $20 higher than you are, he's going to go, man, but this other guy didn't ask me all those questions.
Right. You're more invested.
Yeah. This guy here really, really seemed to want to make sure he got me a really accurate quote. Is this other guy just giving me a lowball number so he can get there and then jack the bill up once it gets there?
You know what? I actually thought about that recently, because when I was new, I wouldn't know immediately off the top of my head what the key system was that the customer would be regarding. And so I would flip through my book. They'd hear me flip through it. I'd ask them to confirm, their VIN, and I would go, the 8th over and confirm the date. And I would land more jobs than I do now, because instead I'm just like, yeah, I can do your car easy. You know what I mean? And so as I spent more time talking to the customer back then, they were more confident that I was, I guess, invested in their project,
Yeah, and that's one of the things is because and we're in a world now, and we're in a totally different environment than we used to be. Okay, so especially during COVID, like it really changed the way things happen and the way things are. We're so removed as a society, right? We buy things on our app. I mean, like now Walmart delivers your groceries to your house for $15 a month, right? So where we're at, that we have so little human interaction. So if you call and you spend that time with somebody, they're invested, right? And if you ask those questions, they notice that, because 99% of the time you give me 10 locksmiths to call on, and I'm going to go, this is where your person dropped the ball. A lot of the times you don't ask for the sale, right?
Right.
Well, when do you want to schedule that? When is a good time for you? Right? Instead, people go, do you want to get it done? You get what I'm saying?
There's a term for this. I actually learned it recently. It's called threading. It's where instead of like where we're engaging each other, if I'm like, hi, my name's Hunter, like you can only say, hi, Hunter, nice to meet you. Whereas if I say, hi, my name is Hunter, I'm a locksmith from Columbia, Missouri, I give you my name, my trade, my location, and you have a multitude of options to direct the conversation thereafter. And so that's what I noticed with you in our little simulation is that you didn't want me to hang up. You were like, well, hold on. We have this. We can go this route. We can go that route. You threaded the conversation together to where I would see a route that wasn't exactly giving up on you.
Yeah. So one of the things is that you kind of got to do is you have to keep a customer engaged. And was it Adam says that he's had to tell customers up front there's a minimum service fee if their keys don't work. And Adam, that's a good conversation to have. But here's the problem is when that key doesn't work and they leave, they're going to question your abilities. Because are you just the scummy locksmith who couldn't make that key work?
I've also had customers refuse to pay me, and where I'm at, it's hard to get a cop or anybody to do anything because theft of service doesn't really apply.
Nah, it's civil. You're never getting your money.
Yeah, and so then you get through that headache, and you're like, damn it, the customer beat me, blah, blah, blah. You know, you get all this stuff in your head. I want to know, though, JK, does that stand for something, JK?
Yeah, it stands for Jimmy Campbell.
Okay. I want to know.
No, it doesn't stand for Jimmy Campbell. But
I'll take your word. I don't know who Jimmy Campbell
is. I can't ever tell you my government name. I'll tell Matt be watching.
It's classified. No. So you're an instructor, am I wrong?
Yeah, I do instructing. I instruct for AKG. I used to be an instructor for, of course, Snap-on. I done some stuff for WorldPack. But yeah, I do instructing, yeah. And I enjoy it. It's fun.
What do you teach?
So mostly is what I teach is my biggest thing that like probably I started with was HP tuners. Like I'm the HP tuners guy, and I don't use HP tuners in the sense of where most people think is using HP tuners for you know, just turning codes off or something like that, or tuning big damn trucks. Is what I actually teach is how to use it as a diagnostics tool. How to use the VCM scanner as a scan tool for drivability issues, and how to like actually scan or pull a file from a vehicle and then decipher all of the data you're seeing as far as like volumetric efficiency, fuel injector data, things like that, so people can know how to, you know, understand what, like, when is this transmission supposed to shift at how many miles an hour? What should the percentage of lockup be? A lot of the things that we can't find in repair information.
Okay. Good Lord. That could actually be really handy, I think, in automotive locksmith trade. Like, go into exactly, like, what are the applications of what you teach? What can one use the knowledge that you fill their heads with, like what can they apply it to?
A lot of what I taught, like in that class, right? Because there's many different things that I teach, but in that class was more of drivability and diagnostics. How to take a vehicle that doesn't run properly, but maybe doesn't have check engine codes, and actually get it to where it runs at its peak performance, or you know, figure out what the issue is. Because a lot of the times with, say, General Motor vehicles, you know, General Motors trucks, is there's certain things that could happen and fail, and the truck can run and get poor gas mileage or something like that, but never throw a check engine light. So I go over things like that, or little quirks that can happen, things of that nature, is that class. Then I teach J2534 programming, which J2534 programming is going to be programming using a J2534 device. Most people that are watching this most likely have a J2534 device, because most of the time your Autel tool comes with a J2534 device attached to it.
Is that for the 908?
This is for the Ultra. This one's for the Ultra. It's got a 4-channel lap scope.
Gotcha.
Built into it, right?
Yeah.
So I teach that. I've done like a intro to J2534 and like the tools you use and things like that. I done that for AKG. I also done a class, and this wasn't really I built the class, I designed the class, and it was the first one I'd done for them, but it really wasn't like the class that I wanted to do. It was somebody else kind of picked it, and I just kind of, the guy bailed on it, you know, so I built the class and I came and done the show with it. But it was why a locksmith needs a scan tool. And basically is what that is kind of like going over some scenarios and some things that I've seen in the field of things that people thought were key issues that weren't key issues, and things that, locksmiths get called out to try to fix, which aren't the issue with the vehicle.
Can you give any example?
Yeah, I had one of my examples on there was like a tip-em, right?
On a Mopar?
Yeah, on like a Mopar.
That
would intermittently not work if it was cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to put the tip-em in the freezer and froze it overnight, and could replicate the problem.
The old C4 Corvette ECUs used to do that.
Yeah. So another one, like example I use on there is kind of Global A. We go over Global A and why you need and how to use your scan tool, right? Because a lot of guys have 608s, like the IM608, and they have no clue how to use it.
Or how powerful it truly is.
Yeah, they don't know what all it can do. They don't really understand how live data works. Then also I teach things in that class of like a sensor, right? Malachi, what do you say? Can you name a few? Can I name a few?
I think he's talking about issues that locksmiths would come in contact with that they could solve with a scan tool.
Yeah. So one of the things of it is like sensors, right? Mm-hmm. I cover like a 5-volt sensor. What is the range of that sensor? Because like the first 0.5 volts, a sensor, basically if you're reading the voltage on a sensor, it should never read below 0.5 or above 4.5.
Where did you get your knowledge? Okay, so you're pretty damn smart. You're an instructor. You come from the outside of the industry. Now you're in. So where did you get it from?
The School of Hard Knocks.
Okay, so you're like the rest of us, basically.
You
just learn from everywhere.
And one of the reasons is I started the J2534 page on Facebook. I got the biggest, J2534 page. The reason is because when I originally wanted to get into J2534 programming, I was kind of, I guess, ostracized, I guess you could say. Like, I was, like, really, really attacked heavily, right?
Yeah.
I would ask a question and I would get attacked, and it was this, or if I'd done this. Like, I remember like the final thing was I got like banned from this group, right? Was because I delete security on old GM 3800 cars.
Okay.
So I'm a hack.
Oh, we have a similar origin story. I joined groups, tried to learn. The first tool I ever bought was on eBay. It was a CK100. It was before I was ever in the industry. And I joined the industry, joined the groups, and I'd be like, how do I program a car with this? And they're like, you're a fucking scammer, and kick me from a group. And so that motivated me a lot.
So the kind of the way it works, right, is as long as you do your due diligence beforehand, I'm not going to I don't come at you, right?
Right.
I'm not going to say anything. The people I don't like is the people that ask for handouts a lot. But one of the things that, in that would probably is when I got into it is like, my biggest thing is like, I was coming in like, I didn't even know like a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't know like anything because where I'm at was so bad. It's so bad. It's like that. It's like nobody knew anything about anything programming. Like, there wasn't like, oh, I learned programming, or this guy can do it, or this guy can do it. It was like nobody around here was doing it.
So you had a huge void to fill whenever you decided to jump into this.
Yeah, because like there was nobody that was at that level, that advanced level near me. I had no mentors. I knew nobody in the industry that done it. So when I kind of came in as just like some guy off the street type of situation, right? It'd be like I just walked in and I was just like young and dumb and didn't know better. So, but I'm kind of glad that happened because I started the J page. I really learned a lot from that. And also,
how many members real quick are on the J page?
It's like 3,300.
Not bad. So
and those are real. Those are real members. Like, we have went through took out there's no China people. Like,
Mm.
these are vetted professionals. These are not,
He's
trunk
not being
slammers.
racist for anybody who wants to say so, because I run a group of 14,000.9 members, and you get spam bots, you get people posting religious scripture from different countries. It's just there's
Yeah.
different cultures that
Yeah.
have different things. So
But
uh
also, we have OEMs that are in there as well. We have
yeah.
representatives from OEMs as well. So it's a really good group. You can really get some help on there. The only thing I ask is if you do go in there, please just like put what car you're working on, like your make, model, the issue you're having, and what research you've done.
Yeah.
Because don't go in there like how I did it, like
Yeah.
this. So,
Can't program ECM. Need help.
This car here, how to?
Yeah.
Well,
But when I started this, right, and when I started trying to get into programming, basically I was told by somebody else in the industry, somebody that was in that group is like, I should sell all my tools and get out of it because I will never make it as a mobile guy.
and you have proven him wrong.
Oh yeah, I made it like my life's mission to make sure he had to look at me at every corner he turned.
Dude, we have a lot in common, because I've told people, like, I want to drop vans in my haters' territory with me on the side doing finger guns just so they can see my face every day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that unless you really piss me off, haters. So, it's kind of funny. Haters are motivators, right?
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, I look back now and I kind of realize here's one of the biggest problems that we have with people that are in the industry. And I say people that they are at the like top level, right? The top level of performers in the industry is we're all on the spectrum.
Are you calling me autistic?
Yeah, you probably are.
Yeah, probably.
So if you take, I want to see your raid score. I have to see your raid score. You have to go take the test, and we have to see your raid score. But the problem of it is a lot of us we're really weird individuals, or we have these quirks, or we're somewhat on the spectrum. We're not as that. So there's a lot of times there's a lot of controversy and fighting and things like that. And it's always because it's like, well, it's sometimes you got to kind of remove yourself and go, oh, yeah, well, I see that, but maybe he's blind to that because, this or that, or, I mean, it's kind of how it is, so I've kind of started to do that more, but I'm like the really controversial one. Like, I am the guy who calls people out. I'm like the guy who's an asshole. How's it going, George? But I'm the guy who put a video of somebody on Altair Remote Expert programming keys to a vehicle with a stolen VIN number in it.
Oh shit!
Online, done it live, and had somebody from Altair Remote Expert programming the keys. I used to be an Altair Remote Expert, but when you do things like that and you expose what they do and the things that were going on within that, you don't stay a remote expert very long.
So I would like to hear more about this. What's your opinion on Autel? And on the locksmith perspective, Autel has revolutionized everything, just like Lishi. On the diagnostician side or ECU programmer side, has Autel taken over, or is it a completely different game in a completely different arena?
It's a different arena. So when you talk about programming, like actual programming, Cardac are the guys, right? Unless you're OEM tooling is always the best. The second best is a Cardac device, right?
Yeah.
And that's as far as fitting the most things, working with the most things, being the most heavily validated tool. Now, when it comes to Autel makes a good scan tool, but I don't know how locksmiths praise Autel the way they do, because Autel has destroyed the locksmith industry, right? And the reason of that is I have a T-Code Pro, what's the American flag one? They called it the Patriot, right? Yeah. I have one. Used it like one time.
Eric, do you know what that
Oh.
is?
No, that was
That
before
back
my
in the
time.
day, that programmer was like $15,000 fully
Yeah.
loaded.
So
No
I
shit.
bought one. I bought a new old stock one from AKG Academy when I taught there. They had a yard sale, and everybody was stepping over top of them to buy these.
What'd you pay for it?
I bought 2 MVP Pros and that for like under $2,000.
Shit. And the Patriot is actually like loaded and good to go.
Oh
And
yeah, I had to put digitizers in them.
oh,
I had to put a digitizer in it. I will
I've
say
got it.
that.
I've got an MVP Pro over here that I threw on the ground. It's still over here somewhere.
Yeah.
It needs a digital one.
So I bought that, and then I bought 3 of them because I buy tools, sell tools, things like that. Everybody was stepping. Everybody was stepping over top of them to grab the all tails and stuff because they were like, and I bought I bought the X Horse tablet, the big tablet deal there.
How do you like that? Oh, well, you don't do Europeans, so.
Yeah, I just
What do
bought
you
it to
use it
buy
for?
it.
You just have it.
I ended up selling it to somebody because they wanted to see if it was any good. If it's a good deal, I'll buy it. I'll buy anything. A guy pulls up with a semi truck full of shampoo, I'm buying it. Right?
Yeah.
If it's a good deal. So I bought that, and I bought an OG Auto Pro Pad. I bought like the OG Auto Pro Pad.
I have one of those still to this day, and I love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
So I bought all those, and those were the last thing left. People were stepping all over them. It was like the last 5 minutes of the show, and we were like something. I was like, listen, people are literally walking on top of these things to grab other tools. You're not going to sell them. Y'all are going to take them back to the warehouse. Here's what I'll do on them. They go, okay, cool. And they thought they were all MVP pros. And we start opening them up, and the guy's like, oh, crap. He's like, that's not an MVP pro. And he saw the American flag. He's like, dude, you hit the jackpot as far as like tools. So I got it. I had to put a digitizer in it. But that tool, though, that's the biggest thing I want to. And the reason I brought that tool up was because you take what it took to be a locksmith back in the day, right? And I know Jarrett said, I don't know, I just clicked on his name and I heard adaptables and I threw up in my mouth and stopped. So you take a locksmith and what it used to take to be a locksmith back in the day, right?
Yeah.
You had to have a T-Code Pro, or you could get by with the MVP Pro, but still, you were going to invest in tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
So
really
you bought a $13,000 T-Code Pro that was loaded up. You bought a key machine back then. You was getting what like a
Bianchi, or you're
yeah.
getting a Silka.
But what, you spending what, another 8-10 grand on this key machine?
At
right?
least
All right.
5,000. At least.
And then your key inventory. So you were not getting into being
OEM key inventory at that time.
yeah.
Yep.
So you weren't getting into being a locksmith for cheap. It just wasn't happening. There was no being a cheap locksmith, right? Now you can buy. Now here's the thing. Oh, gosh, and this is what kills me.
We're gonna get into the ugly right now. I see it coming.
Right. Is so we had the Key Tool Max, which was a cheap key tool, right? That done adaptables, but in true fashion, it was an X-Horse tool. So, dear friend, today is holiday. We'll be back next year. Who knows, right? Dealing with support for X-Horse is horrible.
You think
so?
So?
Yeah, I know so. When I had to like diagnose my own key machine. Yeah, X-Horses.
That may be hit or miss. Like I had pretty good, surprisingly good tech support from them.
Do you speak Mandarin?
No, but I had to diagnose and fix my Dolphin, and it actually.
That's what I had to. My motherboard was bad.
Yeah, so actually I had to fix mine too. One was the main board, and then the other one was the sensors. And the only thing they couldn't nail down was it X, Y, or Z. So they had me get in contact with somebody who sent me 3 sensors for like $8. Got my machine back up and running.
Okay,
But
so
surprisingly, they answered really quickly and were able to very easily tell you how to take it apart and diagnose it. But I mean, I can take things apart as a mechanic, so that's not the hard part. It's just kind of figuring out, the schematics and how the damn thing works. But honestly, I was surprised for being in China and not natively English speaking people, how easy it was to get a hold of them and how easy it was to go through the process. And I'm not saying everybody's going to, results may vary. It's China.
they must like you a lot better than they like me. Don't send them like hashtag free Taiwan or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So wait up. I don't know. It says like Adam's got a couple of things he's posted in here. It says, I try to help out and talk to the new guys in my area. I don't give them a lot of help, but I'm friendly with them. Car Keys Express, however, I've made it my mission to crush them in my area. So the one thing of it is I'll say to that is it's always good to have buddies, but don't
JK, I want you to continue on your path. You were talking about X-Force came into the game. They introduced adaptables, but in true fashion, their tech support sucked. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm gonna get back into this, okay? Because
Altel picked it up and introduced what?
The KM100, which was designed for people to steal cars. It was not designed for locksmiths.
And it's so cheap, and it has basically 80%, 90% of the.
And it works. And it works. That's what pisses me off. The X-Horse stuff, when I grab an X-Horse tool and I use it, I'm like, it may work, it may not, who knows? I don't know. Right? But you grab that Altel tool and it works. And it's so cheap, and you can buy them for like $300. Right? And it's the size of a phone. That's what drives me crazy about it. Why do you need a key tool, which this is a phone, but you can't really tell the difference in this phone and that KM100? Why do you need a key tool that small?
I know, it looks like a KM100. Look at it.
It looks, if you saw somebody with it, you would just think it's a big cell phone.
Honestly, it looks like a Pokédex. Is that a Pokédex cover? Are you a Pokemon fan?
No, this is just a red cover. I have a red cover.
Don't get him.
I've got three phones. So one phone is my personal phone, and then I have to color code them so I know what phone is what.
I gotta say, like, for the longest time, I was like, I need to buy the APB or whatever, the emulator, the 112.
APB 112.
And then I learned that the KM100 has it built into it, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? Because the emulator is like, how much, Eric? It's like $130.
$300 for the fucking emulator.
It's $300 for the emulator, and it's $500 for
or at
the
least it used to be
KM100.
It used to be. It might have come down now, but
okay. So I just want you to really think about something, right? Is do you remember Hawaii? The Hawaii scandal?
No, I know the state, but I don't know the scandal.
No, Hawaii, the routers or whatever.
Yes.
Huawei.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're down to, just real quick, they're down to $198.
For a KM100?
No. For the APB 112, the emulator, it's down to $200. But you can still go on to UHS and buy the KM100 for $400, and it has that tool built into it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's wild.
It's almost like why buy the emulator? You're right.
Well, so one thing is that you have to realize is a lot of Altel is owned by the Chinese government. Okay.
You can find all the
a lot of the people that worked at Huawei or whatever now work at Altel China. And they're trying to get a lot of tools out there.
Those Huawei routers were the shit, though.
Yeah, well, is what we learned is with the Remote Expert program, and is one of the reasons that I'm no longer with Remote Expert was, and I didn't really mean to jump into this or anything, the tinfoil hat stuff, but I was logging my network activity, and I took everything off my network except the Altel Remote Expert box.
Mm-hmm.
And I was connected to a Virginia server, and I was programming a vehicle that was in like Alabama or something. We were both really close geographically. Right. But I was supposed to be connected to a Virginia server, but I kept pinging a Washington State server.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
and it didn't make sense. This box was pinging this Washington server. Well, if you go and look, Altel, um, Altel was saying, we're not logging the data. We're not logging the data. We're not logging the data. And I was like, well, I think you are. Because the latency doesn't make sense, because the people that were on the West Coast didn't have the same latency issues as we had on the East Coast. And the closer you were to that Washington server, the better your latency was.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're not logging the data, and I'm like, well, the server's coming from somewhere. This has got to be something. So the reason is Altel Robotics is in Washington. So is what they're doing is they are logging data, but they're not storing it in Altel Diagnostics. They're storing it at Altel Robotics. So that way, if anything was to ever happen and they seize the servers in New York, that is a totally different, separate company from Altel Robotics. So, but you think about it and this is where the tinfoil hat cut stuff comes out, right? Because but you think of how many government facilities have an Altel tool sitting on their network right now.
Yeah.
All right. You could design a custom operating system or something like that. You could design something to where every time you hooked up to a charger that had a fleet, because I don't know if you know anything about these like Chrysler ECUs, right? But let's say this Chrysler ECU, this isn't one, but a GPEC 2A. You could technically, everything that has a fleet, because the fleet has its own calibration. You'll see when you look up the cal to say fleet.
Yeah.
If you was to take and make that this box now, because our Altel tools, all of them have J2534 boxes that are capable of programming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do.
What if I was to load a piece of code into every single one of those PCMs that was a fleet vehicle that on, say, December 29th of 2027, every vehicle stops working?
You think that could be a potentiality?
Oh yeah, it's a potentiality, because the next war we're going to be in, there's a reason they want so many of these tools on the streets. The next war we're going to be in is not going to be with people and guns and bullets and nuclear warheads.
It'll be
The next war we will be in will be a digital war.
Okay.
All they got to do is take away the internet. You shut down the banks, you shut down the internet, we'll all lose it. We can't function.
I kind of had it's kind of weird. All right, so VVDI Prog, I don't know if you use that. To the locksmiths out there that have VVDI or X-Horse products like VVDI Prog and VVDI 2, VVDI Prog is identified on Windows laptops as a Trojan horse. And I once had it installed on my desktop, and I used to be admin of like a ton of locksmithing groups. And one time I tried to log in on my phone and I couldn't. I was locked out, and I was making posts on Facebook that didn't make sense. It'd be like a period and a post. And people were like, what the fuck is going on with you? I was like, I have no idea. So I ran home and I looked at my computer and my admin settings on the Facebook app had been given permissions to some other page I've never known. And the permissions set on the VVDI Prog was set to admin my computer. It could make any executive decision it wanted. And so I don't know how the hell or what the hell. And everyone said I was crazy. Why would they want to hack your computer? I was like, well, they're selling tools to locksmiths, and I happen to interact with over 10,000 locksmiths every day. So I think it's pretty highly incentivized to hack. And so what you're telling me is that they're trying to put as many products or spy tools in as many hands possible to increase the odds in their favor if and when there is something that could happen.
Yeah, because it's what we witnessed, right? You guys ever heard of a term named can sniffing?
Yes.
Okay. So can sniffing, for all you out there that don't know what can sniffing is when we do a function with a tool or something, and we catch the packets, the frames, that go between our tool and the ECM and or other modules in the vehicle. We sniff that, and that's how we kind of reverse engineer things and design softwares and things of that nature. Everything. Anybody that says, "Oh, we don't reverse engineer anything," they're lying, because even Snap-on, sends guys out to the auctions with factory tools, and they sniff functions out of that. That's how they do aftermarket stuff.
That's the only way you can make the aftermarket stuff.
Oh, yeah. I know, but if you ask Snap-on, they'll tell you that they buy everything.
Well, you can look at the lawsuits, levied against them, because like they'll have them for intellectual property theft, and that's just something that they do.
So a lot of those tools, they're doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're can sniffing, but they're can sniffing your network.
Oh, so whenever we were hooking up for Wi-Fi updates and stuff, they can.
Anytime it's on a network, it's capturing that data.
Mm.
Right. So you think of, all that you do that's over that network. Now, here's the thing: do they really want your stuff? No. They may not be yours, but they could. You can target certain people, right? They can target certain things. That's why I do not think call Autel and ask them for the EULA. The EULA of their IM tools. They go, "What's a EULA?" We don't know. We don't have one. I've called multiple times, try to get one. Can't get one.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
End user license agreement.
End user license agreement. I'll show you in my Ultra right here where it says that you agree to Chinese law. In here, it's in the EULA of the Ultra. Says that you agree to Chinese law, that they are. It basically when you sign into the tool, you agree. You are agreeing to them harvesting your data. Like, they don't hide it. They put it in the tool that they are harvesting your data.
It's fucking crazy. And
so your customers' data
are at risk.
The tool is harvesting.
Yeah, your customers are at risk. Fuck me. I've been wrong all these years. Okay? So like, people have been saying, don't use the Chinese tools, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why the fuck not? I ain't doing no harm. Well, maybe I've been fucking wrong for years, because you're making sense to me. You know what I mean?
Your CK100 doesn't connect to the internet.
No shit. But the CK100 was the gateway, because they sold it to us for cheap. It was an MVP classic ripoff, sold at $89. The motherfucker works, so I bought it. You know what I mean? And
you're safer with the clones. You're safer with the clones than you are the legit tools, though. At this point,
yeah,
you're safer with the clones.
The clones, they're just trying to make some fucking money.
Yeah, the clone. Listen, the guys out in Shenzhen, the Shenzhen district that are cloning all this stuff, they're not trying to take over the world. Okay.
Well, I mean, you said it yourself, though, right? They're owned by the government.
Yeah, and well, the thing of it is any company that's in China, when they get to a certain size, I mean, that's they're not the land of the free. It's not
it's socialism.
It's not capitalism. So they're that's goes. What is it? Goes. So I don't know. Somebody said something. Adam said he didn't know the Autel was owned by the Chinese. Well, yes, they are.
Yep. And here's where it's interesting is that the IM 508 and 608 were actually in Aurora beforehand, and they were developed by the Locksmith. They were sold as a beta test platform in which we were afforded lifetime updates if we bought in at the pre-stage.
Which was this? Oh, was this the IM tool?
The AutoSys Aurora.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, the one that they screwed everybody on.
There you go. Yeah. And also SmartBox, same deal. And so like, before Autel was acquiring the emo programming protocols, we were testing them under a different company. And so after we ironed it out, that company sold to Autel, and then Autel absorbed all Auroras and turned them into IMs.
Yeah. So, and then basically, here's the thing is you can't cry. People can't cry about the whole locksmith industry going to hell, because They sold everybody. See, that's the problem though, is everybody is so worried about the short-term payday that nobody ever thinks about the long-term goals. You know?
Okay, speaking in regard to that, what do you consider short term versus long term payday in the automotive locksmithing arena? What should we focus on and not focus on?
As far as in the automotive locksmithing industry,
Whereas you see it, from your side, your perspective, your programming past to your future, where do you see yourself ending up exactly? Are you
for
going to be
my
banging out
me,
universals, or are you going to be doing OEM only? Are you going to be programming TCMs, or are you going to be programming transponders?
I do both. I mean, it's there's no one. The problem of it is if you don't learn how to adapt, if you just think that you're going to make keys for the next 25 years of your life, you've got to really come on. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Do you really think we're going to have car keys in 25 years? Come on, be honest with yourself.
No, I think cars are going to be like
I do in the United States. I do.
they're going to be
I'm gonna be
biometric.
the odd man out, but I do more than keys. But I'm gonna be the odd man out. I still think we're still gonna have car keys in 25 years in the United States.
I don't see it. I don't. I don't see with technology and where it's going. I don't see us actually having physical keys.
Maybe not
And it
as
and
many
if we do,
physical.
and if we
We're still gonna have
do,
something.
if we do, it's going to be kind of like I can order the keys straight from the manufacturer. I can get them delivered to my house, and I sync them up with my iPhone or something.
Yeah, through an app. Through an app.
Because like here's the thing that you really got to look at is if you've heard of like you know these companies and really what's going on and things like that is like with remote programming, what is stopping remote programming from doing keys? From
Not damn thing.
sending you
Nothing.
look. This device is $140. That's retail. How much do you think is actual cost to make one of these? If I was to make 10,000 at a time,
Be like $4 each.
who knows, right? I don't know. I don't manufacture this, but I'm pretty sure that I could get that cost down to the point that where I could care less if that ever got shipped back to me.
And I've said this for years because whenever Smartbox pulled the rug out from underneath us, I said the next step is that they're going to be going directly to the end user, which is what their goal is. They're going to mail them a dongle. They're going to download an app. If they can't figure it out themselves, it'll be a team view like, hey, I'm Jeff and I'm here to help, and he will walk them through the fucking program. But
Well, I mean, I
agree.
could get keys programmed on Remote Expert right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's only gonna get better.
We can
and
team view
easier.
into a lot of the programmers now. I've done it for quite a few
Yeah.
people with their 508, 608.
Well, no, I'm saying if we take that even out of the equation, the technology is there. I mean, I'm releasing remote software. We'll be releasing some remote software here soon that is going to be where you could take your Android phone, you could Bluetooth that dongle right there to it, and I can program from sitting here at my house. I can program through J2534 to that dongle. Right? So that's where technology is going. So if you think that these companies, because now we're looking at how many cars are actually going to have a physical key. A lot of cars now, they still use a physical key, but how many, it's there, in the fob, but we don't actually use it, right? You add that. So it's very easy for a company to send somebody two fobs, send them one of those devices, program it through their phone remotely, and cut locksmiths out.
I agree.
Right? And that's just where technology is going. Technology just came at my job. The remote programmer guys. Like remote programming, I've lost customers to remote programming.
Go into detail on that if you could, because you would have to go to a shop. You would have to have the module on bench or something or in the car, and you would program. But then you started to see an influx of remote programming, and then what?
Well, I don't see as much here because I've seen it in like a couple shops.
Okay.
But you'll see that they use remote programming because they can be cheaper.
A lot of the body shops are doing that too.
Yeah, so Aztec Repairify. So
Yeah.
the Kinderhook group, that's Aztec Repairify is under them.
Yeah.
So they own a bunch of companies, but those guys, you look at Aztec and what they're doing. They're doing ADOS calibrations remotely now. They're doing a lot of pre and post scans. They're doing programming now. I mean, Elite K, right? We got Elite K out here, which is owned by LKQ. And I'm sorry, Jareth and Eric, if you guys think you can compete with LKQ, good luck, because LKQ's got that, FU money. So they're
Yes,
doing
they do.
programming on GM and Fords for $98 a piece now. Right? Now,
Yeah.
that's not saying they're doing everything. They're not doing everything, right? They can't do all the cars. They can only do the gravy. But the problem of it is, you can't sit and do Mercedes keys all day. Right? You can't sit
Right.
and do EPROM jobs all day long. There's not enough of them out there. You got to have the Chevy Cruises.
You're saying
You've
that
got to
they're-
have the gravy.
Yeah, they're going to take a large percentage of my pie. I cannot rely just exactly on what I'm specialized in. So, sure, we can try to specialize and capitalize, but all of us still are dependent on the bread and butter,
No,
right?
you have to diversify your business.
Exactly.
If you want to stay relevant in the automotive industry, you have to learn how to build your business on pillars. If you don't build on pillars, you're done for. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, all right, I have the car key programming down, to a science, the car key origination. I've definitely got you being on that. I'm positive of it. You, on the other hand, I would have to bend my knee to on programming, most likely. I want to know what it's like through your eyes on a daily. What kind of jobs do you go to? And what do you do?
So mostly all my mobile calls, most of them are programming. I don't do a ton of keys anymore because I've fired 2 of my key customers.
Okay.
So so most of my stuff that I do is programming and diagnostics.
And so
That's most of what it is.
let's lay out a day. So, say tomorrow, do you have any jobs planned?
No, because it's Sunday and I don't work on
Sunday,
Sundays.
most of the places aren't open.
Okay,
Yeah.
Monday.
Have you ever heard of the Bible Belt, Jareth? We roll a yeah. We don't do much
I
on
forget
Sundays.
that you're
brother.
you're in the hills.
Yeah, here in the South, we don't do much on Sundays, brother.
All right.
you know.
So next week, what is a job you have lined up?
So when I've got like some PCMs to do next week. I've got an all keys lost on a Hyundai. I got to go do Monday.
On your PCM, is there they call you and say, hey, these are the symptoms? Do we need to change the PCM, or do you go into it knowing I've got to sync a PCM?
Here's the deal. You got 2 ways you can go with me, right? You can say, JK, we need you to come diagnose this car. And if I say it needs a PCM, I finish it out. I put a PCM in it. Or you say, hey, it needs a PCM in it. And I don't ask you nothing. I don't care. Because you're still paying me when it's done. I don't care. If you want me to put a PCM in it because the engine's on fire, I'm going to come put a PCM in it. Because all I ever done when I would try to tell people that, oh, that's not going to fix it, was I would just offend them.
Yeah. Talk in circles.
So,
they don't listen
yeah,
to you.
so they wouldn't listen.
Care.
Yeah, so they wouldn't listen. So I just stopped going that. It's like, hey, now some of them will ask me, hey, do you think that's, an issue? And I'll be like, hey, I would have to look at it to be sure, but I would just have to look. I can't tell you. Or there's some ECMs that are like, hey, we've got this Ford Edge and it's got a misfire and it had a bad cool on it. We put another cool on it, still got a misfire. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's a Ford Edge. They all burn the cool drivers out.
Yeah.
Some of them you just know.
That feeds into the PCM.
Yeah, some of them you just know. But I think it's very important for locksmiths coming up is to diversify, right? And locksmiths you're already building your business on pillars, right? Because you don't just do automotive. Most people do. They'll do commercial and they'll do residential as well. So if you just try to do one thing, it's not going to be good. And you're going to have to get into the programming because sooner or later, and I'm a NASTIF air provider. I don't know if you know what that is, but I can actually do like those parameter resets on the Fords that require the LSID. I can do those remotely for people and things like that. So there's a whole process through that goes through NASTIF and stuff, and it's not really to like approach on any locksmith guys, but it's basically most of the people that do it, they don't have anybody there to do it in their area, or just the locksmiths don't have the tooling or equipment or know-how,
SID.
to do it. So going with that, they're going to a lot of these China tools are about to disappear. They're going to start confiscating, from what I've heard, IMMO tools at the border. I don't know when that's going to happen. That's just something I've heard. I don't know exactly, but there's supposed to be some legislation. Yeah, so there's some legislation that's going to come down, and these guys that aren't agreeing to the what is it, the deal like Alltel, where now you got to have the passcode to get in and stuff like that. I think it's ETI or something like that. Those guys that aren't going to play by those rules, and they're not going to do that. I mean, we've already got the Biden administration has already said, like, hey, we are going to, we've told the manufacturers now that disregard right to repair. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't know.
No, so the Biden administration told the told the automotive industry, right to repair does not apply to you all.
Bullshit.
Because it's all about keeping the car secure now. Right? Because here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? One of the easiest vehicles probably to steal for a long time has been the 99 to 2006 Chevrolet Silverado, or the Tahoes or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure you guys have, and I'm not going to tell people how they steal them, but you guys have probably seen that, right? You've probably shown up to fix
in this
columns.
area. I haven't seen the theft, but I know exactly where you're going with it. And I know
exactly and how easy that is. Yeah, and how they do that.
I stole my own van with.
Okay, so
2 seconds.
So you know how that works. Well, here's the problem. When they started stealing the Chargers and the SRT cars and stuff like that, well, you get some of these ladies with their SRT Trackhawk Grand Cherokees, and you start dragging soccer moms out of SRT Durangos and stuff like that in these bigger cities. Well, then things start to change. Right.
You notice the trend is that the government is starting to say that we don't own our own intellectual property. So if we look at it from a perspective of what do we own and what they're trying to say we don't own, it would be information, and it would be security information. And so if you think about it, that's really fucked up, for them to try to lock that industry down. I don't know. The customer should have a right to repair their vehicle and how they see fit, whether it's changing a brake pad or changing their keys.
Yeah, no, but the thing of it is you got to understand when these cars get chopped up and they get sent over to foreign countries, that's really what it is. And what is that money being used for?
Well, hell, the government sends weapons with serial numbers.
I get that. I get that. But is what I'm saying though is like a lot of these cars, these cars that are getting stolen, a lot of these vehicles, these Land Rovers, shit like that, they get shipped overseas, right?
Yes, they do.
And they go to Middle Eastern countries, and not everybody over there is our friends. So the money that's being profited off that get used for, things that aren't really, yeah, the district court just renewed right to repair. Russell says, yeah, I get that they just renewed it, but basically the Biden administration is saying that right to repair doesn't apply to the auto manufacturers.
Supremacy clause.
So you can get your iPad fixed, but you're still going to be at the the mercy of the OEMs.
See, that's where I drained off right there. Is like the fight for right to repair was over information, computers, and now it's correlating to cars, and it's like, what's next? What will they say we don't own next? That's kind of freaking me out. Swear to God. Oh no! Look, JK making me depressed.
Yeah. Did they take away our sewing machines so you can't fix your clothes?
Yeah.
Well, now the thing of it is like, it's
take away the thread and needle because you might use it.
I don't mean to be like all doom and gloom about it, but in reality, you've got to kind of keep an eye out for that, right? Because the industry's about to change, and it's about to get flipped upside down.
So ex post facto, if it wasn't illegal before, it can't be illegal now, right? If we all have our programmers and they start to confiscate or restrict, are they going to try to impose something to restrict us whom already have it? Or is that new legislation or, ban, is that only affecting those who are trying thereafter the law is passed?
I think it's only to bring new tools in. So I think if you've already got them,
we're going to be
already got them. We're going to see, and I don't really know. I don't know for sure.
Key Tool Max, I'll sell you for $1,500.
Yeah, right, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think. I mean, if they're, they're not coming to take your guns. So just calm down, okay? It's not like I want to die with this Ryan 508. You don't have to take your 508, wrap it in tinfoil, or your X-Horse tool, wrap it in tinfoil, and shove it in the van somewhere they can't find it.
I'm gonna have them stacked like toilet paper during COVID.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna auction them as they start to ban them.
But I don't think we're gonna get like that. But I do know they're gonna, there's been talks of confiscation at the border, things like that. But who knows? Who knows where that's gonna go? That might be 5 years from now. We don't.
They did that with something kind of similar, the Flipper Zero. Do you ever heard of that? You play with that at all?
Yeah, that right there.
Hey, boy. Yeah, see, they didn't want that coming in across the borders for a while, and the Flipper Zero
broke our hotel key door, or our hotel key with his fucking stupid Flipper Zero.
But they were selling on eBay for $800 because of supply and demand concerns, But now they're back to retail.
All right, hey, just give me one moment. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay. Doom and gloom here with J.K. Walker.
Yeah.
Adam says, don't worry, boys. AI taking all our jobs anyway. I agree. Who's to say that AI is not going to be used to Bluetooth into a customer's app to program a key that was mailed, right?
Yeah. I just, I don't know. Americans are too stupid. I'm sorry.
It's kind of freaky.
It is. I think it will be the way of the future, and I think it will come, but I don't see it in my lifetime.
Me neither. I always, it's always kind of concerning whenever people talk about confiscation at the borders. You know what I mean? What exactly would that mean? I wonder if they'd send them back to the original country or destroy the items. What happens to the money that the distributors would pay?
Yeah. And then what happens to the consumer at that? Say UHS orders 1,000 fucking Key Tool Plus tablets.
I am 508s.
They come to they're supposed to come to UHS warehouse. UHS has already sold 500 of those on pre-order or something.
Right, because
and then the government says, "Hey, go fuck yourself." Yeah. We're taking them all. So then what?
Are they going to run them over?
Because X-Horse or Autel or anybody over there in China, if they've already made the order, what do they care? They're not going to give.
They're not going to give the money back. Fuck them. Hell no. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to give it back. Why would they?
You back with us, JK?
Yeah, I don't think. I think UHS probably get their money back.
You think so? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm going to say so because you got to understand. UHS, Key Innovations, that is all one big umbrella now. Well, I mean, they're two separate companies, but they're. But that's your biggest. That's one of your biggest buyers, though.
I still think China would tell them to fuck off.
No, well, no, because they're buying from the U. Well, no, they might buy directly from China now. I don't know.
So I want to go into a little bit more into what your classes curtail. You had told me through private messages that you love me. No, I'm kidding. You told me that you give a piece.
You were trying to. There was something about you want me get on your OnlyFans shower stream
Yeah,
or something. I don't
yeah.
remember, or
You
something
know,
like that. I was
for a
like, whoa,
small
hold on now.
$5 fee, you could join me, but you declined. So, you
Yes.
said you put a PCM in every student's hand, and then what?
So I done a class on GM Global A, and part of that was in cloning ECMs, GM ECMs. And that class, we went through all the different types of GMs, the software you would use on each one of those to clone them, what kind of vehicles they fit, what to watch out for, issues and interchanges, things like that. But also, I put an ECU in everybody's hand. They got two ECMs, and they cloned that PCM before they left class.
When are you teaching again?
I don't have anything scheduled as far as that goes just
I
yet.
do a lot of this J2534 programming, but I'd probably take your class.
Yeah, I done a class. My J2534 class that I done in Chicago was packed. It was packed. It was a really good class. We had really great reviews on that class. Um, and I thought like that was the thing is that the guy. I thought I was gonna do something for a wall. I can't say him. Oh la la la, a Libby Lob Lobs or something. The Lolas or
Alola?
Alola. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were talking about something because I sent the guy the email from like or the IAL people or whoever done just cars or whatever, but
Mhm.
I never seen anything back from them.
How much get lessons from you on that, JK? Even if you don't do a class, I think he's
Um,
perhaps asking for some private tutoring.
so I do personalized training. Like I could come out and train. Like if you've got a group of guys or something like that, I do personalized training. If you're interested in something like that, look me up on Facebook, JK Walker. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Yeah, look me up on there because if you send me an email, I'm never gonna read it because I don't really do emails. But if you look me up on Facebook and you contact me on there, I usually will reply to you. But yeah, I could definitely get you if you wanted to do something like a custom event at your place or something that was tailored towards your business. There's many different things I can teach, many different subjects. If you don't have Facebook, what are you on YouTube right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on YouTube.
Just give me your contact information and I'll reach out to you.
That'll work. So you're in the mountains of Tennessee. You're doing programming. You're mobile. You're going to people. What do you do for fun?
Um, yeah. So have you ever looked at binary? Uh, no. No. But this is what I do. This is I don't, I don't watch sports. I don't. I'm. This is my fun.
This is it. This is the
Yeah.
life
This
right here.
is like this
Yeah.
is like I'm.
Tell them
It's
where you're
weird
at.
because I don't
Where,
know.
where are you at right now?
I'm in a bus. So
You're in a bus.
I'm in the magic school bus. No. So this isn't a retired bookmobile. So it's out of Detroit, Michigan. I got this thing. I drove it all the way from Detroit, Michigan to East Tennessee doing 55 miles an hour. But this is my bus and it's got like two AC units and it was insulated. And it was like the cheapest solution I could get to a office outside of my house because my office started to become like there was no the the house and the office there was starting to become blur the lines of what was what.
Yes.
They're becoming
So
all one.
it was like you can't keep car parts in the kitchen counter.
You
So
find car
therefore
keys in the washer and dryer, and you're like, "Fuck."
yeah, so
It's real.
needless to say we I got this bus and it worked out great. And I think it was cuz I needed to do it quickly too because I don't have a lot of I feel like I never really have a lot of free time. Cuz I'm trying to do this or this or this or this or that. Plus my ADHD so bad that if I start a project it never gets finished
Have you
usually.
noticed that there's a lot of divorce and relationship issues I've had on myself when it comes to locksmithing and mobile guys because we fall in love with our jobs and we often allocate too much time to it.
Yeah, I could see that. Luckily for me, you know, which the funny thing is like if you asked my wife what I do for a living, she'd go, I don't really know. She just knows like she for a while she thought like what I did might be illegal. Cause she's like, I don't know what you do. And
He's like Walter White. He drives a bus and there's a lab inside of it.
it's like
So
you're like in an ambulance and like you just come
yeah,
home with some money and like
he doesn't talk about it very much, you know.
She's like, you change VIN numbers or something, like oh yeah,
Think
no. So
I think he's exporting vehicles to Africa.
yeah. So and the problem of it is though is like in when you get to that a certain level though is there is temptations you know there.
Opportunities abound. They're there.
And
Yes.
that was kind of one of my problems with the remote is with remote you can't see that car. So like I would always feel sketchy because like anybody wanted any kind of like, oh, sync this ECM to the car, and you're like, oh,
Is it really
I have to program the keys when I do that. Like,
Hey,
is this?
what do you think about on eBay? They sell start packages where you can find like a Subaru Legacy cluster, BIU, ECU, ignition, key, etc. What do you think about that? You ever seen those?
I've not seen those, but me personally, ain't nobody stealing Subarus.
Yeah. I mean, they have them for everything. They have them for Mercedes.
I get that, but here's the thing. Do you really? You ain't getting them. I mean, what are you gonna do? Catch them in a tent?
Well, okay.
Like,
I mean,
like all the Birkenstocks in there, you couldn't even get in the car for the Birkenstock coupons and stuff probably piled up in there. Yeah.
shit.
Nobody's stealing Subarus.
Someone could always pull that car to a remote location, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem of it is like there's nothing that you can't steal.
True.
That's the problem is, and that's what that's the problem is where there's always going to be people out there that are going to do things that are nefarious, right? So
Like you said, the temptation is always there, and some are going to.
the temptations. If you think I ain't had the money thrown at me before, I'm the town I'm originally from is known for like three things: moonshine, chicken fighting, and chop shops. So therefore, that temptation is there. Like there will be people that will approach you, especially if you're in the module business or the key business or something like that. You have to start learning like, "Ooh, this don't seem right." Like, "Whoa, what do you mean? Like, whose car is this? Hold on, let's pump the brakes."
Eric and I, we've had people trying to, trick us into getting cluster changes done. Mileage, rollbacks, and so being a locksmith, I know how to do it. But it's kind of peculiar the opportunities that you can be presented with.
Yeah, I had a guy a while ago wanted me to do a Mazda cluster swap, and I got there and everything seemed fine, and I was like, why do you want me to change this cluster? And he's like, oh, well, this cluster has 80,000 miles less than this cluster, so I'm going to put the lesser miles one in this car. I was like, dude, go fuck yourself, bro. No chance. You should have came up with some bullshit. Because
man, I really hate to ask this, but was that guy a foreigner?
Yeah, he was, and he was a car dealer.
So here's the thing about that is I think it's not as bad in different. I think that's kind of more common in other countries, maybe. Because
lower the miles.
Yeah, I think that might be.
I want to interject.
Because, I don't know, but that's a big.
Let me interject. In this state. My grandpa was a used car dealer, and he had a car dealership in Branson, Missouri, and he also had a summer home across from Juarez, Mexico. And the only separation between his property and Mexico was the Rio Grande River. That's what he said, at least. I'd never been there. But legend has it that Grandpa used to keep the interceptors and ship them to Mexico and he would roll back the cluster because all the cartels want those cars, you know. Grandpa's dead, so I don't have to worry about any of this coming back. But you know, different country, different market. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what they expected, and that's kind of what he did. So just kind of from a perspective on my end in regards to that.
Well, this guy wanted to sell the car locally.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like I've noticed, you got to watch like Facebook. You get on Facebook Marketplace and you look at some of these guys, and they're scamming because they'll have all these cars, and you look and they're like all auto pro-pack cars. So they'll be like everything the auto pro-pad works on, and it's low mileage, and you're like, oh, okay.
Everything you can roll back the odometer on.
So and it's like so you know how to use YouTube.
Yeah. Oh shit.
You know? So
I'm gonna start looking at that now.
Yeah. So you start looking at that and you're like, "Ooh, the miles don't look right, buddy." But so what Anna says, I don't know about that. I don't know. What does she not know about?
I don't know.
That's probably when That's probably when Jareth was going off on his thing saying that the wives don't like us being stuck in the garage all the time, probably.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that's true because she's a couple. She has a husband that's a locksmith, so.
And you have to say Anna.
Anna.
She will fuck you up.
Do you want to build a snowman? That's how I remember.
What does it say? Zeke, I can't even say. I ain't going to try to say your name because I'm going to butcher it, brother. I had a VW cluster swap. I did it and got paid and said his original mileage. That sounds like something I would do. Yeah, no problem. I'll swap that cluster out for you. Bam.
That's what Boy Ali. I've done the same thing. Guy had a Volkswagen. He wanted to change the cluster on, and I thought it was because it was an upgrade. You know, it was a cluster out of a newer model, and it looked nicer, and it had the nicer looking display, and yeah, I swapped it over, put the original miles back on, and he's like, "Oh, why are you changing mileage?" He said, "You wanted a cluster swap." I did a cluster swap. I had to make sure your mileage was accurate, buddy. He's like, oh.
So I had a wild one here recently. It was an E78 car, right? So it was a Global A. I think it was a Cruise. Yeah, Cruise. Or Cruise or one of the little Chevy cars, right? Maybe a Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So it has an E78 in it, and it's a Global A car. They got a brand new AC Delco PCM, but that is a job that you want to clone. You do not want to program, because when they plugged the ECM into the car and turned the key on, it made the miles. It made the cluster say 0 miles.
Damn.
Yeah.
Can you correct that?
Can you correct that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with an auto pro pad.
Oh, okay. Well.
I mean, you could go through and try to. I think the clusters usually, when you do cluster programming, it only lets you like set the mileage one time on the GM stuff. Usually, you could take an auto pro pad and reset that cluster though. Those cruises and stuff like that. Most of that GM stuff is pretty not too bad to do.
Do you do any programming on Fords? Like, is there a common thing that you do with Fords in regards to like not key programming? Something that's pretty common?
Transmission characterization. So when you put a new transmission in a Ford, you have to put in the characterization for the valve body. That's a very common function that we'll do on the Ford stuff.
And you had sent me that what was that? What was that fucking car? The brake issue.
Oh, this Nissan. Okay, yeah, so the Nissan. I don't know exactly what's wrong with the Nissan. Because that was one of those, okay, I figured out the problem. It's time for me to go. I didn't do the brake job. I didn't do this. Like, all I know is we've got it figured out what the problem is. But that pedal was so tight. Because I remember you said you had showed it to somebody and they're like, oh, the brake, it needs adjusting. No, Eric, it wasn't that it needed adjusting. It was that you had to take your hands and both feet and stand on that pedal to even move it from the pedal stop.
So
you
if
still
the
don't know
engine
what
was running good and it didn't have low vacuum, your next culprit would most likely be the check valve in the brake booster or the brake booster itself.
Well, this was when it was no. So here's the thing. I don't
the brake
think
booster should hold some vacuum.
Yeah, and well, see, the thing was,
Piston
in is
pushing it,
after you would, if you did get it to start, it would. But even when you started it, this thing still had such a tight brake. So the brake felt almost because it don't matter if you leave one sitting for a week, the booster's going to leak down probably, right?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So this one, if you let it sit for a day, the booster would leak to where it got super super tight. The pedal would.
So it was probably the check valve, most likely.
I still don't think it was the check valve because with the car running with good vacuum, the pedal was as tight as a normal Nissan would be with the key off.
Okay, so it could have been just the leaky brake booster itself.
Dude, all I'm saying is this pedal, when I say it's tight, like when it was hard to push, like it was just insanely hard to push it. And with the car running, it felt like the booster didn't even work. So when it was getting help from the booster, it's like it wasn't even. That would be like what a car normally would be with the key shut off. Like I don't know, and they just done a brake job on it, a pad slap, someplace did. So I was like, I don't know if they done some damage or something to the ABS pump, maybe like when they pushed the calipers back, and maybe the pads were just like really. I don't know. I don't know. I was like, nah, go have the brake guys fix it. So if you have a communication problem, call me. Don't call me because your brakes are soft. Okay.
Yeah.
If your transmission don't shift right, unless it's the electrical side of it, don't call me. I don't rebuild transmissions. And people know this. You call me for the electrical, the diag, the communication issues, things like that. Don't call me for, certain stuff because I'm just going to be like, that's not my forte.
Yeah, that's not my wheelhouse. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Have you had any like clusterfuck of jobs that you pulled out of your hat? Ones that you're proud of?
Everything I work on a cluster. Everything I work on is a cluster. I get a lot of case study type cars. So I'll get the dealers put $5,000 worth of parts on it. And one thing of it is, I should just show this kind of off. Hold up, let's see. Because I don't know if does either one of you have the new IM 608?
I have the 608 Pro, but not the Pro 2.
You don't have the Pro 2? Because I wonder if they added topology to the new one. Because topology is something that you definitely want.
Topology is nice. The what is it? The Top Don, I think it was.
The Top Don has topology too.
Yeah, they have that.
Let's see.
They're higher end models.
I'll show you guys a couple things here, and because network diagnostics is something that you really do need to learn. And the Ultra and the 919 and the Ultra both do a really good job of scanning this. Let me put a computer on the bench here.
I just want to make sure we're good on time with you, okay? Is that all right?
What do you mean?
We're not keeping you too long, are we?
No, I mean, I ain't got nothing to do except go sit inside. I think the wife's already asleep, so
cool. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this.
So
midnight for us, right?
All right,
you're on the East Coast time, right?
So
he's
let's
Central.
See,
Tennessee Central time.
I believe so. Is Tennessee Central Standard?
Maybe. I don't really know.
What time is it for you?
It is. I'm Eastern time. It's 12 o'clock. It's midnight.
Okay, yeah, he's in the same time zone.
Cool. Well, I just learned something new. He's like, that's not what I wanted to teach you.
What is this? That's not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. Okay. Nope. I'm
so
trying
you
to make
say
this.
While you're doing this, you say that you're not doing as much car key origination. So, are you pretty proficient with leashes and have learned all that, or
depends on what day it is?
Okay.
Okay. So this is where me and a lot of guys disagree. Okay. It's like 98 degrees. The humidity was like 50%. Right? I'm just going to buy a code. Like, I don't even want to be outside of the vehicle. You know, like I bought a code the other day because
Get
I
him
was
off.
messing
Get
with
him
it.
off. All right, he's a code Smith. Cut the interview.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's raining, I'm just going to buy the code. Right?
Jared timed me last night. Yeah.
If it's raining, I'm just gonna buy the code, and it's not that I can't leash it or anything else. It's just if I fool with it for a couple minutes and I'm not getting it, or a lot of it is I kind of feel like with the leashy thing is like you've got to kind of be in the mood. I don't know, but I mean the first one I ever leashed, I was in there in like 30 seconds. And I was doing really good, but it's like, it's one of those things, it's kind of like riding a bike. If you haven't done it in a little bit, it's kind of like you stumble at first. And some days I can do it, so I'm good at it. Some days I'm not, but it's one of those things of really the time, if I can't get it in the first couple minutes or something, I'm just going to buy the code and I'm going to roll on. And it's not because I don't want to do it or I don't appreciate the ability to do it or anything like that. It's just because I'm on this time constraint. Right. And I felt like the the ones that I struggle on for some reason is the locks that are just like war plumb out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was telling
It's
Eric.
100-year touch.
Well, I was telling him like a couple days ago that the hardest ones for me, it seems, is like an FO38 on a 2008 Ford F-150, like a construction work truck. It just I have to pluck away at the bastard way longer than I know I need or I should, you know. And for whatever reason, it's not a high security. It's only 6 wafers, but it'll still eat my time more than others.
So a lot of the vehicles that I fool with, it seems like, are trucks.
Yeah, like you
Right?
said, you're out in rural Tennessee.
Yeah, and they're full of mud, grease, grime, everything else. So
And they're owned
but
by Mr. Fix It himself.
yeah. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, they've already sprayed like everything possible in the door throughout time.
Yeah, and they're smarter than
So I had to clean one out with seafoam one time. It was that bad. I had to use seafoam. I was like, I like Houdini was just Houdiniing it to death. It wouldn't work, and I was just like, I have this can of seafoam deep creep, and I just sprayed it all in the seafoam in there, and it finally got it. You know, it is like finally ate away at whatever they put in there.
Damn, I forgot
So
about heat creep, to be honest with you.
so but basically, it's one of those things. It's like when I do it a lot, I'm proficient at it, but it's like I get on some of these trucks and like you always see it because like if it's a concrete truck or there's like concrete on it or like if they're tile guys and there's mortar all over the truck or something, it's just like I don't know. It's like if it's on the key and they stick it in and it's like the more wore out the cylinder is, the more I struggle with it because I'm picking it and I can feel it break and I'm like it broke at a 4, but last time I picked it, it broke at a 3.
Dude, yeah, no shit, yeah, and or else you'll hear it bind and you'll feel it go soft and compress, and you'll hit the next one and then you'll hear it fall back, and you're like, the fuck, you know, you got to go back and forth to the same ones, you know.
And then there's some of them that I've just been like, you know, like I've overpicked something or like there's some that I've just like had to like just brute force them. It felt like. And then it was just like, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, and then even at that point, the lock's so bad. By the time I did get whatever, I'm looking at the progression and I'm like, this ain't a key. Like, what is this? You know, like, this ain't right. But I do.
With the Econolines, the dealers down here, they buy the Econolines, and they'll call me all the time, like, oh, we have a key that it'll only start, but it won't work any of the door locks. So somebody must have changed the ignition, and I'll get there. And no, they didn't change the ignition. All your fucking door locks are seized.
bro.
I've taken a couple of them apart just to see how bad they are, and it's like somebody took salt water and just poured it into the lock, and then did everything they could to get it to corrode. I don't know what it is with the Econolines down here, but their locks just seize the hell up.
Okay, so I want to say something that's really hacky because it's a tool endorsement. But have you seen the Milwaukee side grinder? The M12? Yeah, with the roll-lock disc, man, that thing is perfect. One. That thing is perfect for like just grinding the sidebar a little bit on an express van. Eric, look at you laughing because you know you've probably done it.
No, I never have, but
You've never
in my head.
You've never?
No.
Oh,
so
God.
There's a junkyard less than 2 miles from where I live. I've plucked every ignition out of that fucking junkyard. I have those in the
bro. So
I'll pin them up. I don't care, but I know
every express van. It seems like they're like, yeah, it's got 2 different keys. The door key's different than the ignition. I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be. It's just that you have like seriously wore that ignition to the point where it's just like, oh my gosh. And now, mind you, I don't usually do the hacky stuff like that, but when it comes to those express vans,
I mean, hey, sometimes you just
it's just like they could care less if I made it start with a flathead screwdriver.
Exactly.
As long as it starts. And I'll tell them, I'm like, listen, your cylinders wore out. You really need a new lock cylinder, or and all this, and we'll go through all this, and I'll be like, but if I could just make it work, they don't care. They're just like, whatever, dude. As long as you can get me to like back on the job right now, that's all that matters. Because like here, we've got a big problem with like where I'm at right now. A lot of people are starting to move in because our taxes are cheap, right? Well, one of the big problems is we have that everybody moving in is not of working age. They're all like halfway retired.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot to add to the workforce. So that's one of our issues we got. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can.
It sounds kind of like an advantage, right? Though, because like the people moving in will have money for you, but no one to service them, right? So you kind of.
Well, no. The problem of it is I don't really have a good business because I can't hire anybody. So I don't have a business. Like I don't have a business. I have a well-paying job.
Fuck, that is true, because a business should work for you. You shouldn't work for it. And we are so highly specialized at times that it's hard to train somebody. The moment we do train somebody, they become our competition.
Well, I'm gonna say something to you, and it's probably gonna make you guys mad. So don't get mad, because I mean it with the deepest sincerities. One of the reasons that I've started to like break more into the locksmith industry, and then look at it more, is because it's an easily scalable model than what I'm currently doing. Right? And I know that you're probably going to get upset when I say this, but I can train a locksmith a lot easier than I can train a mobile programmer.
I agree. I mean, I say it all the time. The robotic key machines are getting cheaper. They're getting easier. They're coming out with, AI key decoders to take away the skill required. And so I'm just going to say, everybody's going to get mad at me. I foresee a kiosk business model inside of malls or at state fairs where one could sell car keys to consumers that walk by. And it would be pretty easy because
they already have a vending machine.
Sure, but I'm talking more like a cute college girl standing next to an A9 or a Dolphin and being like, hey, what kind of car do you drive? And a guy's going to be like, oh my God, walk up to her and start talking to him about his big ass Chevy. She's like, how many keys you got? And it's, it's just easily scalable, as you said, to have
she's going to stick it into the key reader that Xsource makes.
Or she's going to go your make model.
She's going to stick it into the key reader. The laser is going to come down, scan it, and then send it to the key machine. There you go.
Or she'll post on a Facebook group and be like, does anybody know the cuts to this key? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I have gotten really good at like reading keys by sight.
Me too.
Because I do a lot of Chevrolet trucks.
And the keys are always too worn out for the machine
And,
to read it.
yeah.
Never comes back to a cut code.
Plus, here's how I got really good at keys. Or like keys and understanding the keys and everything else is I bought a Dolphin, and then I realized how much my Dolphin sucked because I bought this Dolphin that was possessed by the devil. And it would just like cut a key, and then it would just decide, oh, every like third key, I'm just gonna cut the key and just lose total access and just like cut the key totally like over here. I'm gonna start here. Yeah, I'm just gonna start here. Mm-hmm. And X-Horse is all like, you're American, you stupid American, you don't know nothing. Send video.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, I was like trying to catch it, and I was like having to video every single key that I made. And it would just like do stuff. Yeah, or then I would try to decode a key and it would just come back gibberish and I'd be like, okay. There's only one thing that I do like about the X-Horse machine, and that is the universal key duplication feature. I did like that because
actually pretty cool.
Because I could do those Hondas where the tipples wore out on them and keep from having to put like an ignition cylinder in them. Because I'm all about, like, a lot of people around here, it's kind of a rural area. So, if I can get them by without having to, like, rebuild the whole ignition cylinder and everything else like that, I just want to get them back on the road.
I want to talk about that. I, too, have those clientele myself. A lot of people don't understand that. I call them Johnny Fix-It. They'll throw a whole column in their truck and be like, fuck, it needs to be programmed, So I get these oddball jobs like that, and sometimes I'll go to a truck that's already been programmed, and I never had a door key. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a
I think I figured this out how to do it now.
All right. Oh, you've been working on that for a while. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna try to see if it works now.
Are you gonna screen share?
So that right there, I think I can share. Bang!
Let me throw it in.
Whoop whoop! Alrighty.
There we go.
So,
now, before we start, which tool is this?
This is the Autel Ultra.
Okay.
So I just want to kind of show you kind of like topology and how topology works. And this has saved me on many, many vehicles. Oh my. So, wait up, hold up. I was just looking to see, before I get into this too crazy, what's in the chat here.
Nothing too crazy in the chat going on.
All right. So, here's the deal. We go in here, and I'm just going to ID this car. This is probably a Dodge or a Chrysler. I have no clue what it is, because it's just a random ECM I've got on the bench. So I don't have any other models. But a lot of the times is what you're going to see in these newer cars and why they won't crank is communication issues, right? Because if that module, the BCM can't talk to the ECM, or the ECM can't talk to this module or that turret module, whatever that vehicle may have, the vehicle is not going to start. One of the very prime examples I have this is 03 to 06 GM trucks. Usually will be a no crank, no start. They'll have an aftermarket radio in them. You remove the aftermarket radio, the device that actually, for the steering wheel controls and all that, and the car start. And that's because the network is actually clogged and it can't send that signal. Now, when we get into these newer cars, they have multiple CAN networks in them, and they use things like a gateway module. I don't know what year this is. So this is a 15, and I know everybody here is probably familiar, if you've done keys for a while, with a gateway module, because you got two options. You can use auto auth or you can bypass it, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you have an Autel tool, because for some reason, if you don't have your Autel tool updated now, it doesn't want to let you bypass it. It's evil, because I was mad at mine because I had to buy an update the other day. So this is topology. When we scan the modules, it's going to show, boom, here's our modules. Anything that's gray, it's not going to be on the network. Anything, that lights up there, you got a code, green is pass. This is a lifesaver. Because if you have a vehicle that's not starting, you go in here, you do the scan, and you see that I'm missing everything on the red line, right?
Yeah.
Well, that means that I have one of my CAN networks are down, right? Dodges are really great for this because they have star connectors in them, and you can actually go in there and unplug stuff very easily to diagnose these. Dodge is probably one of the easiest. These newer Dodges with the star connectors in them are some of the easiest that you're going to diagnose as far as CAN network issues. So as you see, this would be like nothing's on the network, and that's just because I have an ECM on there. But
so are you you're currently hooked up to an ECM right now?
Yeah. See the check.
Yeah.
This tool.
I'm hooked to one on the bench.
You right now, JK.
Yeah.
And you just scanned it. So we're about to go into it right now, aren't we?
Yeah, so we can go into it pretty easy. If we were to go into it. Right, and this is where a lot of people, this is where, this as far as they go, is right here. People will buy a $5,000 scan tool and they use it as a glorified code reader.
Right.
Right.
This is an OBD scanner that you can get at fucking AutoZone for $45.
So here's all our codes. Imagine all these codes we have because nothing's plugged in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we could go over here and we could go things and look at event data freeze frames. Freeze frames are going to give you things of like when that failed.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes like in a General Motor vehicle, you're going to see General Motors vehicle. You'll see what was it, service number 1. It's going to give you the odometer of when that failure occurred. Right?
Oh.
Which is a pretty cool one because they said ever since you programmed my keys, my oxygen sensors didn't work.
Yeah. We got a question here real quick from Adam Garrity. He said, what's the name of that tool for GM?
OBDX Pro GT. Right there, OBDX Pro GT.
Show it to everybody. We're going to put you up right there. Look at that. Fantastic. So, PCM odometer, this is showing the mileage at the time of the failure?
Yes.
And explain how that could be pertinent to somebody.
Well, because if you take your mileage down when you do a key or anything like that, if you record mileage and they come back and say, this code's been in my car ever since you made a key because you're the last person that touched it and now it needs timing chains. Right? Because your key broke their oxygen sensors.
JK, I want to borrow you. So when I was within the first year of my business, like within the first 6 months, I had an MVP Pro, I had Stratec keys, and I had a lady call me with like a 2007 Dodge Magnum. And I go there, new as hell, but, semi-competent. All right. And I produce a key and I program it with the MVP Pro, and security light goes out. Moment I turn it off and try to crank the car, security light comes back on. Now, I know now that it was a PCM failure because I've fixed these before, but she got me at the time because I was new. I was like, I don't know. Here's the key. She was, thank you. I'll call somebody else. 2 weeks later, she's like, we took it to the dealer, and they say that I need a new engine, computer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I filed an insurance claim, and my insurance company paid out $10,000 to the dealership to repair her 2007 Dodge Magnum. Now, look, hindsight's 2020 and all, but what do you think about that? How would you face a problem like that?
Dude, what?
All right, so if I was to scan her computer at the time of program instead of when I didn't do that, would it have shown at like the time of a failure, a PCM failure, would it have recorded the mileage of that failure?
So if you do a pre and post scan, it's like if you do an actual pre and post scan, it would be dated. But depending on the vehicle, these freeze frames are going to show different things. Okay. So if you was to check it out, it's always a good idea to do a full vehicle scan though before you just go try to program keys.
So different vehicles have different data that you can
Yes,
access.
they do. But I would be more of like, how in the world did they think that you programming keys done $10,000 worth of damage?
That's I know, and I was new. Like I said, I was new. So she called me like 2 weeks after I had left, right? And
Mhm.
I had mostly forgotten about it and written it off. And she called me and surprised me one day and was like, "If you don't fix my car, I'm gonna leave you a negative review here, 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 here." And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like she's about to sink my shit before I've even left, port.
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy shit!" And so I panicked and I called my insurance agent, and it's just like, "Fucking file a claim. I probably did something wrong." You know what I mean? And so hindsight 2020, I know that her PCM was probably bad. I've had magnums with bad PCMs. I get a used when I resync it, and it fixes, program new key, it fixes the problem usually. And that's probably what it would have fixed her car. But I was new back then.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is really is if me personally, I don't do it because I'm more of in a commercial setting. But if I was to deal with retail customers, I would probably do a pre and post scan on every vehicle I touch.
I think I agree with you, but like you mentioned before, like time, right? It's like you don't leashy because time, oftentimes the scan takes forever,
Well, I get that, but also
but it also protects my ass.
it's CYA, right? Because we're
Mhm.
in the vehicles we're dealing with today. Because here's the thing: when you program keys, you need to do a full vehicle code clear afterwards. Because when you're using that Allteller or something like that, and you're pulling stuff from modules or you're using other tools, well, it's very very possible that you create a communication code in another module.
I honestly I don't do that.
Yeah, so if you don't do a full code clear afterwards, and also if you're just jumping in and programming keys, if it's an all keys lost situation, that's cool. But see, mine aren't always all keys lost or something like that. But I always try to get a full picture of what's going on. Right? You always want
Yeah.
to get a full picture of what exactly is going on, right? Because if you don't have a full picture of what's going on, that's when you run into problems. But it seems like a lot of the time, though, the way the business works out is we try to do something, then when there's a problem, now all of a sudden we got to try to figure it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that I've seen that locksmiths do that I think is crazy is nobody uses like any kind of battery maintenance device.
I do.
Do you? Okay.
Not necessarily always for key programming, but
Yeah.
when these knuckleheads call me out for PCM programming, TCM programming.
Well, anytime you program anything, even if you're doing keys, you need to. Because if not, JK's gonna have to come back behind you and fix the BCM that you sent to meet Jesus. Because you tried to program keys on it with a half dead battery.
Well, if it's not 12 volts on my programmer, I'm hooking up my jump box.
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of people don't watch out for that because I get a lot of that.
I do just because of my background, and I know.
Yeah, but I've seen some tools do some
I've seen
pretty
people
wild stuff.
programming keys at 10 volts.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go do bad up on one the other day, a Silverado that the guy had actually the locksmith came out, which I don't know. What would you charge on a 2006 Chevy Silverado for one transponder key on an all keys lost?
You said 2006?
No, 2016.
Oh. One transponder key, all keys lost, probably 225, no remote.
Dang, you're like really cheap.
Oh, yes, I know. I
don't-
have competitors that just
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'd be lucky. I'd be lucky right there with Jared. 225, 250 to
Okay,
get that.
well,
My competitors around here do it for $125, $150.
we'll work on that in ways that you can make more money. Horseshoe Lock and Key said 285. That's more closer to where you probably need to be. This guy charged 270.
Lives in the middle of
This guy charged $275 and it didn't start when he left.
Mm.
He didn't program the key.
what?
Yeah. He I guess it was when you had to pull a pin code, so I'm gonna guess that whatever tool he had wouldn't pull the pin, and he's just like, I can't communicate with the PCM. So that's what he said.
Let's jump back into what we're showing here on this screen share real quick. what else can you do on bench with a car's computer? Could you clone this? Could you change data? Could you correct data?
So on to that.
Do you do crash data?
Okay, no, I do not do anything with airbag modules because here's my thing of it is there's so much liability to that, and there's really no way to test it. I watched one the other day, and this is kind of wild that you asked that because I was in Hilton Head Island. Does anybody know where Hilton Head Island is? It's in South Carolina. If you ever heard of Tabby Island or Savannah, Georgia, it's about an hour from there. It's up north, right? Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful place if you like to play golf because that's about all they got is golf and beaches. So we go there. There was a lady. She cleans. Of course, there's a lot of people that clean like condos and stuff like that there. This lady, and she was a Hispanic lady. And she had this car. It was a nice Passport, right? Mm-hmm. And she had got T-boned at a red light and it flipped 3 times. It didn't blow one single bag in the whole vehicle. Mm. So we know it should have blew the curtain bags, seat bags, something, right?
Yeah.
Pulled the tensioners in the seat belts. She probably should have done all that in a rollover accident. None of that happened.
The pre-tensioners didn't lock.
Huh?
Did she die?
No, she didn't die.
Jeez, miracle.
She, but I had to. I went and helped her get out of the car because, well, if you know anything about cleaning chemicals and you start mixing a bunch of cleaning chemicals, it was getting pretty nasty in that car really quick. Mm-hmm. So we opened up the hatch on it and we got her out of there before anything happened. Yeah. But on that thing of it is, you could look at that car and you could see that it had some really shoddy bodywork on it, right?
Yeah.
So chances are somebody probably done the shoddy bodywork, sent the module in somewhere and they redone it, crash codes and put it back. Those bags didn't deploy and you'll never know that until that. So it takes one person getting hurt like that and then, you lose everything, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm real peculiar with that. I ripped one of my dealerships a new ass on a Hyundai. They told me that the key wouldn't unlock the car when you turned it in the lock. And I'm still 100% sure what was going on. They said they put a new door lock actuator in there and all that. And when I opened the door and opened it up, had the door panel off, I could see the crash bar had been cut in half because it had at some point been crushed. And they just slapped a door skin on there. And I was like, dude, you get me to work on some shit like this again. You'll never get me to work over here again because this is dangerous. That crash bar is completely gone. And the next time this car gets hit in that door, that driver's dead.
Yeah. So, and that kind of stuff there is like, I don't care. I've done some hacky stuff. I ain't gonna lie. I've rigged some stuff up. I mean, I'm gonna get you to work. Don't worry. If they don't make that part no more, or we can't get that part, if it's back ordered or something, I'll get you to work. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll delete something out of it, with tuning software or something like that. There's a lot that I can do. I can delete the mobilizer completely out of the newer GM stuff.
So you do emo off?
Yeah, I'll do emo off.
Hell yeah. That's one field I have to express my interest in. Emulation, emo off, and all that. So you do any of that?
Yeah, I do. And here's my thing is I always do it with the customer knowing, right? I don't ever just like do it because it's the easy way out. But I always give them that option. I'll be like, listen, here's the deal. You're going to be able to start it with a standard key. It would make it more probable for theft. But do you really think anybody's going to try to steal your Chevy HHR?
Right. Or do you? Okay. I mean, yeah.
No. If they stole it, they pay you to take it back.
Yeah. So if you don't think anybody's going to steal it, we'll be all right. Okay. So, or you're because like you figure like all the Ford stuff now. You can't get the patch rings for them anymore. Those older Fords. So what are you left with? The only thing you're left with is IMO off, right? So, but as far as like programming, and now he's asking like what those tools could do. Like that tool doesn't do programming or anything like that outside of like what Remote Expert does. Now I am actually working, and we're about to release some software to do Chrysler ECMs. So all of your, let's say, everything from 10 to now, maybe anything like CAN based. I'm just going to say CAN based, right? Anything CAN based Chrysler ECUs, you'll be able to clone. Is all the way up to like GPEC 3s. The 4 stuff we haven't quite got yet.
You ever deal with like the bricked BCM issue on like Nissan Rogue or what's the other one? ProMaster, Active Alarm, stuff like that?
I don't think I've ran into it. I've not fooled with a bunch of ProMasters.
Okay.
I don't get a
Like
bunch of those for some reason.
Fiat 500s, the alarm triggers and the BCM locks up.
I don't see it. I don't see a lot of Fiat 500s either for some reason.
Okay.
Probably the hill, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why there's not. Yeah, it's not like people aren't buying Fiats here. Okay, we got these people here kind of.
I got to keep that in perspective. I always forget that. Yeah.
They're just now buying Asian cars. Okay, so
Toyotas are new over there.
You buy a Toyota and there's a guy at the gas station who's gonna be like, "Oh, you don't remember Pearl Harbor?"
Right.
So you gotta.
Oh shit.
You gotta know what it's like to be in the country, right?
That was funny.
Like, was they out of good Chevrolets or something when you went there?
I saw what they did to my friend.
Yeah, so needless to say,
you want a car that lasts forever though, you buy a Toyota.
We've got a 4Runner. It's a pretty good car. Now, so yeah, and that's kind of the thing is and that's everybody is different in their areas, and here it's trucks, man. Like I'm the truck guy, the Dodges, the Dodge trucks, the Chevy trucks, the Ford trucks, and that's usually where the money's at because those people on the trucks will spend more money than they will on the cars usually. So that's what
more money on the truck than their house. What are you talking about? Yeah.
So I focus a lot on the trucks, and I actually do like the HP tuners, like the unlocking of the ECUs for the 15 up Dodge stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've ever seen like HP tuners to tune those ECMs on the Dodges. You have to unlock the ECM. I do some of that too. So I try to be very well versed, and I don't know if it's because of my ADHD. I have a new hyperfocus every 6 weeks. Or if it's just I like to be very well diverse in what I do because you never know when a revenue stream is going to go away.
When I was exploring, just entry level knowledge on like tuning ECUs and stuff, I came across tools called like KTAG and KES. Can you opine about those tools at all?
KTAG and KES, those are really good tools. Those are going to be like cloning tools, and they offer like file services for tuning. Now you could do the tunes yourself, but you're going to be dealing with binary files, and you would have to be well versed in something like WinOLS or other software, and you'd have to have definitions actually to use those. So, that's really, they're not more tuning, they're more cloning tools.
Okay.
Unless you've got somebody that's going to provide you with files. So that's the thing.
Tertiary service. You need someone else to help you with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna get with you here in a little bit. Well, probably tomorrow at this point. But
there's no reason for you to. There's no reason for you to own KES or KTAG as a locksmith.
As a locksmith, okay.
Yeah. I don't have KES or KTAG.
What do you primarily use to clone and push and pull data?
Well, so I do a lot of GM, so iTerminal is like the go-to. Now the new tool,
hold on. That tool you just mentioned, could you talk to me about it? Tell me what it is. I see it all. I don't do any of this, and I see people. Pedro Della Torre, shout out. I see him showing that tool off all the time. What is it?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Pedro has me blocked.
Well, not. God damn it. That's not the point. Anyway, what is that tool?
What? So that tool is actually just don't say Mike Christopherson or I really have to go on a rant.
Oh, no.
So now So basically, that tool there is a cloning tool. But see, here's the kind of the problem is China kind of got a hold of it, so now it's not as valuable as it used to be, sadly. And a lot of it is in this tool right here. So if I was going to buy, this is an OBD Star DC 706. Yeah, so the DC 706, you get the full version. It basically done all that stuff that IO Terminal was doing, as far as the GM stuff. So this is actually a pretty powerful tool. It's like really too powerful. But the one thing I hate about it is the interface, because it sucks so bad. And the second thing how much is it?
Yeah,
it's like $1,400-$1,500.
Okay.
A lot cheaper than IO Terminal when you start buying licenses.
Yeah, I noticed buying like IO Terminal, the base was like kind of cheap, and then I started scrolling through. I was like, license.
So
like,
IO Terminal. So we were looking at two ways of doing it. We were doing to do it with IO Terminal or do it with these for my class, for my GM class, my GM module clone class. These are just too damn clunky to use. Like, plug a keyboard and mouse into this if you're going to use it. If not, you're going to hit a wrong button very easily. And then, like, moving files to it and from it, and it's just, yeah, it's not user-friendly.
I hate when you have a tablet-based programmer that's hard to transfer files to and from. Like,
yeah.
I know with an Autel, you just plug a thumb drive into it and copy the file. It's easy. You got the file explorer. My Key Tool Plus, the big orange X-Horse tablet, it is an absolute fucking nightmare to get files to and from. Wherever your source file is, you need to log into your stupid little X-Horse account, upload it to the cloud, and then log into it from your tablet, and then download that file. And sometimes that can be an absolute nightmare to do in the field when you don't have super good internet service.
Now, have you all seen this little tool? There's a couple different ones. This is a top-down one.
That's the one we saw in Texas, Gareth.
Yeah.
At the TLA.
What'd you say?
That's the one that we saw at the TLA in Texas.
Okay, yeah.
So this tool, it could be something, but right now it's just not there. So this tool is supposed to be able to do some GM module cloning, a lot of different other module cloning as well. It's supposed to like do a lot of stuff, and it works with like launch and launch and top-down tools and stuff. But they just haven't really got this to where it needs to be. Like it does.
Do you think it will get to where it needs to be?
Not unless they put other people in charge of it. I don't think. Because it's pretty much, it can do one GM ECM at this moment. And it's been that way for a year. Almost.
Is top-down owned by China as well?
So here's where that goes. That is a launch product. Or actually, that product I think is made by SmartSafe for launch. So launch is a China company, and I'm totally going to mess this up, but this is, I think, how it was there. Maybe launch was in Hong Kong, or there's some deal where they opened like Think Car because there was something with trading with the, and I'm probably butchering this whole story to death, but from what I interpreted, it was like you have launch, and I guess it started in like Hong Kong, but they wanted to be like publicly traded in China, so they started Think Car in China, right? And then Top Don is like a licensed version like for the US or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no clue. They've also partnered with Aztec Repairify. So now Alltel's partnered with Aztec Repairify for remote programming, and so has Launch now.
Okay, so the companies that we are using are partnering with our competitors?
Yeah.
If it's remote, right, that's enabling other people to program, right?
Yeah. So people that Aztec can sit and program through Autel tools and through launch tools now.
And take our jobs. What is some advice you would have for a locksmith to prepare for the future of automotive programming?
I would say invest in a good laptop. And that's kind of one of the things I build laptops.
How many do you have?
How many laptops do I have?
Yeah.
That's not a fair question. I sell laptops. So I got about 30 on the shelf.
Shit.
But or do you mean how many do I utilize in my business?
How many do you utilize day to day?
So, all right. So I'm going to go on the record and say this, and it's probably going to be used against me later because, I'm stuck. It's probably going to be used later against me. Somebody's going to screenshot it or record it. They'll probably send it to Donnie. So, Donnie, if you're seeing this, I love you, bro. But I've got one that I use for legit software, one that I use for crack software, and then a backup legit.
What did you say?
Okay. How many
Autel has
OEMs?
been selling the universal proximity keys with a programming dongle since it came out. They don't care about us. And they also sell the watches, to the end user as well.
Yeah, they sell the watches. Well, you have Autel. So, see, is what Autel has done is Autel's got that other company. I don't know what they're called. Who knows? Something Durka. What is the name of it? They've got their, DIY line. So now they're just selling key tools even cheaper under a DIY line.
I'm
unaware.
Shit, I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it.
Hold up, I'll find it.
See if I can pull it up. What is it? Autel.us, I think, right? Yeah.
So they've got a programmer that is...
There's a KM100 that's cheaper than the KM100.
And it's designed to be limited, as kind of a disposable?
No, same thing. Same tool.
Okay.
Same tool.
And they're selling it to our customers for cheaper than we buy the KM100 for.
You're starting to catch on to this, Jared.
What the fuck is going on?
Here we go. DIY tools.
Yeah. So, that's how International Key Supply started.
It's AutoFix.
Yeah.
Pull up a AutoFix IM2.
Can we throw a picture up? Screen share something. Because I don't know what this is. This tool, this is new to me, and I'm kind of getting a little pissed.
Yeah. Actually, UHS sells it.
Everybody sells them.
For $3,000.
Go look at Amazon or eBay or something. Is where you really want to find them.
Shit, it includes fucking everything.
Yeah, it's the same tool. Look at it,
dude. It even includes a USB to Ethernet adapter for BMW. Holy shit! My 608 Pro didn't even come with that. Hold
up. So IMO tools. Hold up. Let me share my screen. Hold up. Oh, I'm sharing one already, aren't I? Yeah. Let me just put this one over there. Nope, it didn't work like that, did it?
No, you had to share the individual window.
Oh, hold up. I'm going to do it like this.
So just pull up the window and then share the window.
Okay. So, oh my God. I'm all messed up.
Let me know when you're ready. I'll throw it up on the screen.
I'm so not ready.
I can see your browser history, and it's disgusting.
Ooh, baby. All right, so oh no, this is when everybody tells me I'm put your tinfoil hats on, right? So, all right, so
there you go.
Wait, that's not the right one. I've done that wrong.
It's the right brand though.
No, it is, but no, I'm saying I shared it the wrong way. Gotcha. There we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so here's the smartwatch, right? So then if we go down, we have their IMO tools. Let's go look at them. The AutoFix IM1, which comes with your little deal there and that. All right. Now they have the IM2. And there you go. That's your IM608.
Yep.
And how much is that?
XP400. There's the Maxi Flash JVCI J2534 compliant.
So now if we go to Amazon, let's go to Amazon, right? So Amazon.com. Odofix. We need IMO. Let's put IMO. Odofix IMO. Says here's the IM1 is $837. They have one. I swear they had one that looks just like the key to the KM100 though.
And that's quite a multitude of different options there, huh? Like I've never looked and seen how readily available these products are. To be completely honest with you,
How much is my charger? How much is my Hellcat kit? How much? What's the cheapest? What's the cheapest I can buy a Hellcat for today?
No, this is a real problem. I think I honestly like. Wow.
He's fucking right though.
Yeah.
The problem is my 13-year-old daughter can go buy this.
Or actually, look at the first 3 listings. Built-in APB 112.
So listen though,
bought one of those. They were $300 when they were released.
I know I bought one.
Think about it from the end user perspective. Let's bring it up full screen again real quick. If you look, I mean, if somebody's looking to steal some shit or, program a key to their own car, I mean, the ads themselves say 2023 newest. And so that immediately implies it does almost every car,
Yeah, even if it won't program at 2023, they're still going to buy it. And think they can
700 vehicle models.
Yeah.
With them nice adaptables that Jared loves.
Oh, you're killing me.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I like the adaptables. I just used one the other day.
I got tons of them, and I never use any of them. Because here's the problem is I don't like the adaptables because it's came back to the same problem. Is you have taken away the cost of entry into the locksmith industry. So if you take away the cost of entry, then you bring the hacks. If everybody had to put up $10,000, you would have less people. But now I can be a key guy. Okay, seriously. I got an idea. Let's become a key guy today. So I'm going to buy this. What's the cheapest I can get away with? Let's go $428.
Yeah, let's build a cart. Let's see if you can buy a key programmer and a key cutter or something like that,
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find a really cheap dolphin or something.
So no thanks. So boom. So let's go like key.
Type key cutter. Yeah.
And let's paint a picture real quick, ladies and gentlemen. This is why the government wants to restrict us, or our programmers at least, because of the availability of this technology. I don't see any really good key cutters, but honestly,
hold on, we didn't actually. Let's do this. Let's just do this.
Like you see that first little duplicator. Actually, not the first one. The second one.
What's the dolphin? But the cheap version that's even cheaper than the dolphin.
Look up X-Horse.
No, there's that little cheapy key cutter machine they had.
The Panda.
No, it wasn't X-Horse that made it. It was it's some other company. It's like a C1 something.
SEC9.
Is that it?
Yep.
No, I know which one he's talking about. He's talking about this other Chinese.
All right, screw this. This is too hard. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to, but no. We're going somewhere better. We're going here. We're going to go to. Oh, they're going to be so mad at me.
Well,
that's okay.
I'm going to just say you can buy a machine from almost any distributor, because they don't really do a background check on a lot of websites.
Nah, bro, we about to build a locksmith business.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So, dude, we got clearance. Let's go to the clearance section. Machines and programmers. Oh wait, no, we can go even better. Cutting program bundles. What? So you telling me I could be a key guy for $2,217?
Yep, that little dongle that they're selling right there with that, I have that.
Yeah, it'll work with your phone too.
Yeah, it does. And it actually it's a little hit and miss on some things, but being a newbie, you wouldn't know any better. I know from my extensive testing of it, it's not bad. It's decent. I do a lot of
All
stuff.
right, so let's say we're gonna at least up it. We're gonna buy a KM100, right?
Mhm.
It's 409 is what they're getting shipped. If it's shipped tomorrow, so let's add that to our cart. Bam. All right. So now we're gonna get a key cutting machine, right? So let's go in here. Let's go to key machines.
Automatic key cutters.
Is that what they got them listed as? Automatic key cutters.
Yeah.
Can you do cheapest to highest? Is there a search?
Sort by price low to high.
Okay, here we go. We're rocking.
What's a tank? I ain't even heard of the tank.
Well, go with the FTC9. Go with that one. I know that one's pretty damn reliable.
Yeah, so we'll go with this
Depending
just
on
to
who you
say,
talk
hey.
to.
All right,
That's
look,
a- Hey, that's a clone of
if
a Miracle A9.
Yeah.
I mean, even look, I'd say we're gonna be good key guys. We're not gonna be the cheapest of the cheap. We're gonna at least be like somewhere in there, right? So we're gonna go with the tried and true
Look
Dolphin.
at the CGDI Godzilla. I've never seen that before. That looks like a fucking dolphin ripoff.
Dolphin clone, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now the Chinese
if
are
we're
killing the Chinese.
so wait up. It's
look at
cheaper.
that.
No,
Dolphin,
Is it cheaper with the KM100 package?
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Yeah, we're about to find out.
So we add it to our cart. Boom. We are at. No, it's cheaper without doing the package.
Interesting.
All right. So now what else do we need?
$2,084.
We need some adaptables, don't we?
Okay, so we're gonna buy some adaptables. Cool.
Oh, and maybe a leashy package if they have it. I don't know though, because I might just buy codes.
Yeah, that's what codesmiths are for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, code brokers. So
Yeah, we're codesmiths.
Okay,
so
so
now
we're going low and slow. Then we're gonna do no leashies. We're gonna find.
So now we got to go some keys. So we bought the KM100. Yeah, so let's Autel.
Type Autel remote.
All right, so now
you'll find some.
So now I'm gonna get a good assortment, right? I'm gonna get a good assortment. They got $20.
Yeah, look at all this. Hey, look at all them lookalikes though. They look like OEM.
Oh, that's what I'm looking at right here. Like they got a bundle pack somewhere, don't they?
I don't think so.
Oh, they have to.
No, I don't think they do on the Autel remotes.
They don't.
That's
You
an
gotta buy them.
opportunity.
You just buy them individually.
All right, so look, I'm gonna add that one. I'm gonna get those because I gotta have some Honda keys, some Chrysler keys. We're gonna get fancy.
Too, right?
We're gonna get real fancy. We're gonna get the Cadillac keys. I get both too, but most of them probably got remote start. We just gonna tell them we gonna get rid of those.
You need the Hyundai.
Did I not get the Hyundai? I got the Hyundai.
You just got it. Yeah, you just got it.
I got the Hyundai. There's two Hyundais. What's the difference?
All right, I think that's pretty good though.
Oh no, we need that. All right, no, I gotta get that. So if I get a BMW, because I'm gonna send that one to the moon.
Fuck yeah! We actually know someone who did that. Yes, we do.
So
he sent a Jaguar and a BMW to the moon, and said it wasn't his fault.
All right, so
kind of weird.
I like all them people. The guys get mad at me on the IM508 because the 5608 group because when they brick the Hondas, I go, so you paid for that dealer bill, didn't you? Because you said it was the new system. So, all right, we're gonna get rid of one of those. We only need one key of each. We're not gonna buy both them because they can just deal with the remote start, right? So look, we bought these keys. We're gonna buy 10 of each, if even that. Let's just say we're gonna buy 5 of each. That's gonna get my locksmith business going, right? Bam. All right.
Oh, can we beat $3,000?
Oh, shit. I accidentally deleted one of them, but still.
But still, we're looking pretty good.
But still, for $3,000, I could be rolling, baby, making keys.
Yeah, you can sell them bitches for $100 a piece.
Yeah. And you know what the funny part is? You know what the funny part is? You want to make it even worse? You really want to know? You really want to make it worse?
Yeah.
Now I'm just doing out of keys.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're just doing spare keys. Nah, man. Hey, we don't need that emergency blade. Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
That's pretty wild. Like honestly,
that's
Come-
exactly.
it
Napa's
is.
selling key machines now. You know that? Key cutting bundles.
Who is?
Napa.
I heard Mac Tools is selling Tritons to mechanics now. Is what I heard.
Matco
Matco or whatever.
is selling Triton and Auto Pro pads to mechanics now.
Okay.
And they advertise the shit out of it too. Oh, come see me. I'm your hookup.
Horseshoe Lock and Key said Altel destroyed the market when they sold the KM100. That was the problem. Is Altel is destroying the market. Because here's what you don't get. Right? If I got a company that big, why do I want to sell 100 guys a tool for $3,000 when I could sell 10,000 a tool for $300?
All right, so we actually had that discussion when we were talking about how to scale the Locksmith Academy. Like you and I don't know each other that well. We don't. Facts, right? We've just only met. And the Locksmith Academy, whenever we were contemplating how to charge for it, we were like, do we go low or do we go high? Because if we go low, we can sell as many as we want to it, as many as we want, or we can go high and keep it out of the reach of those who don't really want it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind
Not
of
only
based.
who don't really want it, but who really shouldn't have it.
Yeah, and it's like whenever it's faced, you're faced with a big fucking bill. It's like the juice has to be worth the squeeze, and so we kind of wanted the really serious people. Whereas if we sold it for $300 for whatever, you get everybody. You'd get the curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I'm curious as a hobbyist.
But you
I'll
don't
spend
get it though.
$300 and get all the fucking knowledge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They already squeezed you.
Mm-hmm. We all have the tools now, don't we?
You already have the tools. That's the thing. You're already squeezed. And guess who helped them build them? Guess who helped them build it?
Yep, and they tricked us too to begin with. But I don't know. It's like, what
Would you have ever helped them if they told? Here's a question: would you have ever helped them if they told you they were going to take all that stuff that everybody helped them? Because there was a lot of people that helped them with that tool, right? They would have ever told you that tool would be $400? Would you have ever helped them?
Probably not. We
No.
wouldn't have helped them if they had told us that they were going to take the tool and sell it to Energizer and put it inside of Ace Hardware and Batteries Plus. But they told us explicitly when they released it that it was going to be for the locksmith only. And so, and then we can't really sue them, I don't think, because they sold the company apparently. It's like a shell game with these fucking people, They'll promise you one thing, and then they remove liability by selling the company and, putting the chips in somebody else's hand, I guess. It
was all the same company to begin with.
And that's what I think, too, is that it's just a big fucking shill game where it's all owned by... All right, conspiracy theory time. I thought that the merger between like AKG and such was the Chinese buying the market and buying the lion's share so that they can control the import and implementation of the product fully. Because if they build it in China and they sell it to us, they ship it from China to us with Chinese freight, they get it here, they put it in our hands, we program it with Chinese technology, and they sold it to us from a distributorship that was owned by the Chinese to begin with. I mean, that would be the ultimate master plan, in my opinion. So that's my speculation.
Yeah.
No, man, China ain't buying an AKG in them.
No. And I figure you can shed some insight since you.
Now there might be some. Well, I don't work for them. I just do work for them.
Okay.
There may be some money. There may be some Chinese money in the Kinderhook group, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Kinderhook is like I think they're like an investment type firm or something.
Yeah, the parent company of AKG is like an investment holdings company.
Yeah, and that's Kinderhook, and they own Aztec Repairify.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor going around that somebody was spreading, that they owned Carkeys Express, but that's not true.
Well, that would be something, huh?
Wouldn't that be some bullshit?
That would be some bullshit.
No, but you know, and the thing of it is, man, how much key work do you think is out there,
I think a lot,
bro?
Realistically.
There's
There's more than you think just because of how stupid people are.
I walked through the key innovations with JB. Dude, I didn't know that many keys existed. There's pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of keys. And that was just like, yeah, that was stuff that wasn't even like
We met him
inventoried yet.
What'd you say, Eric?
We met him in Florida.
Yeah.
JB's a great guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. I liked him.
Yeah, we got to tour the UHS facility, and it was pretty cool, and it was eye-opening too. Seeing all the, industrial shelves full of product, and their little runners picking and pulling and throwing shit in bags and mailing them out.
Yeah,
I was like, what an operation!
Even just how high the shit is stacked. They got
They had ladders
to get to product on top shelves and stuff, and it's pretty cool.
It was wild, and I was like, damn! It was a simple operation, but highly effective, and they were moving a lot of products.
Yeah.
Who's Locksmith Jeremy? Because he says China takes that back. JK, China no love you no more.
No, they don't love you.
China don't like me, bro.
Jeremy's a local guy here. He's a local guy here in Virginia. He's next county up from me.
So there was a joke that the Chinese government was going to take me out for a while because I was in the NASTIV meeting. I was speaking on the panel there at SEMA last year, and I called Alltel out about the KM100. And I told him, I was like, that tool is not designed for locksmiths. That tool is not designed for locksmiths. Why would you make a tool that small, that concealable, and could do that much and generate keys for the locksmith industry?
And you know what's nice about that tool? That is they inconveniently leave out on our 608s and shit. And when you go to generate the key, I'm sure you've probably used it. You go year, make, model. You pick your key. Okay, I'm going to generate this key. There's a one-click fucking button at the bottom. Emo. You click that button, and it takes you straight to key programming.
It disappoints me because I want to have faith that just natural progression. Technology got cheaper to produce. They produce an awesome product, but it's like, yeah, why would they make it look like a cell phone and be so small? So concealable. I don't know. I love the technology, but then again, once you look at it as a whole from the outside, it's pretty fucking dangerous.
Well, here's a couple reasons why you would make a tool small. Reason number one, it's less intimidating. Right? If I'm going to sell a tool and I'm going to target to more people, right? Mm-hmm. Which is more intimidating? A tool the size of my cell phone or this tool the size of a damn Alltel Ultra?
It's like a gun, a handgun is less scary than a big AR-15,
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. But
even around your customers, you pull out the 608 in front of a customer to program a key, and they're like, "Whoa, shit, that thing is huge, man! You don't bust it out the big computer for my car."
That's true. They asked me, they're like, "How much was that?" And I'm like, $5,000.
Have you seen an Ultra in person? Have you seen an Ultra in person?
Yeah, it's a big
massive.
Program. Yeah,
it's massive.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, because whenever I use that little orange Toyota dongle to plug in and program, they're like, "What the fuck is that?" Because I'll pull it out of my pocket, Yeah.
So
it doesn't really elicit the illusion of expensive,
So
Yeah.
let me show you something that I do, because you was wondering, like, you was asking how many laptops I have, right? Earlier. So let me kind of demo something for you here.
Do you have multiple OEM softwares on a single laptop?
Well, I'll show you that here in 2 seconds.
And do you run them in a virtual machine?
No, virtual machines are the devil.
Okay. See, I don't like VM either, and I know some OEM don't play nice with other OEM. So
Yeah,
I've gotten
so
in the
let me
habit
get
of
back
putting
to.
OEM software on a single laptop and calling it a day.
So let me show you this here in a second. And probably need to share my screen. One of them here in a second.
All right, we still got the tab pulled up, but I have it tucked out so that no one can see.
All right. Which one do you have? Oh, I need to get rid of that one. So stop that one. Present.
Okay.
Share screen. So this is how I set all mine up. And these are what I set up. I set these up. I sell these to people. My company Pass Through PC does this. So
you want me to share right now?
Yeah, share it.
Okay.
So anytime we see you, JK, China. No, China don't need to see me today. All right, so on these, right? These are partitions.
So you partition your drives. Okay.
So I partition mine. So I've got this right here is a 2 terabyte model. This is like my most popular model I sell to people.
Mm-hmm.
So we separate the Asian software from the domestic software and the Euro software. Then these pass through in PC 1 and 2. This is where you could put, like, say if you were having a problem with Ford over here on domestic and you didn't know if it was a problem, this would be just kind of like a clean partition. You could go over there and install something. Or if you just needed a partition where you could put some software that you wanted isolated from everything else, you could put it there. Then system backup recovery. This is actually so we can recover and we could back this thing up ever so often. So this is its own partition that boots into Macrium so we can do restore the PCM. I mean the PC. So we can do regular backups of the PC. So like if you go in here and you say let's go to domestic, right? It boots in and say you'd have Ford, GM, and Chrysler, you'd have them already set up on here.
So you have YTech, IDS, and TechLine Connect, all on the same partition.
Yeah, you can have those all on the same partition.
Okay.
As of right now.
Okay.
Of course, this is Windows every other day. It wants me to do that.
Yeah. Fucking bullshit.
So then we set these up. Like I go ahead and I install drivers for people and things like that. I don't really install the software. I do have like some stuff in here, put in here. Like I go ahead and download Forescan for people and Alpha OBD and things like that.
Forescan is nice. I like Forescan.
You like foreskin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only lots of it. Lots of it.
Only
all right. So, and I'll put everything in here, and we get everything organized. I'll download like PCM Hammer, LS Droid, things like that. We'll go ahead and I pre-install some of that stuff for the domestic. I don't install all the softwares for like Asian and Euro because some of those you have to have, licenses and stuff like that just to even download the software. But then, like, say if we're here, instead of having to like restart the computer completely if we need to do something, we can just go here and we can go into our other one. So let's say we're going to go into our Asian partition, right? We'll just click here and it's going to take us right into our Asian partition. It'll restart into it so we don't have to like shut the computer off, turn it back on, and then select because you won't believe how many times you'll select the wrong partition.
Yeah.
Lots of times. But yeah, that's what I do. I do a multi-boot thing like that. And I sell these to people already set up because setting them up is easy for me, but a lot of people struggle with it, and it's very easy to get to the last step and then lose everything.
Yeah.
You know.
I need a new tough book to run my AR-32. I accidentally broke it the other day when I slammed it against the ground.
Well, here's my
Accidentally slammed it
AR-32
against the ground.
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have. I don't have one. Another thing that works pretty good if you don't have if you can't get a hold of an older tough book, is if you get a Dell, like a E6420 or something, and then you get a port replicator.
You know what?
You'll have to coach me through that.
You know you can boot AR-32 from a flash drive, right?
The Dell port replicators are like super cheap.
You can
need
AR-32 from a flash drive, and you can put a parallel port into any modern PC.
Oh well.
Look. You think that's an old school 32-bit PC?
No.
I put a parallel port in there, and I boot it from a flash drive, and AR-32 will run on this. And this has got,
Yeah,
I've got a full setup here.
Yeah, I'm talking about a laptop though.
So in a laptop, I mean, if you want to be in a laptop, then yeah, like you said, but I have a small form factor PC that I built for my van, an SFX PC, and I put a parallel port in that thing and I put it right in there where the graphics card would go, because instead, I just run onboard graphics. We don't need dedicated GPU for a work PC. So I still, if I want to boot it off my PC in the van, I still have my PC set up with all my regular Locksmith software, my VVDI2, my Tango, blah 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 blah.
I've got some Optiplexes over here.
I boot from the flash drive.
I've got some like Optiplexes that I got over here that I bought for our project that I kind of abandoned, and I haven't done anything with those. So
those are good small form factors. Those would be good for AR-32.
I don't think I can put a parallel port on one though.
If it's got a PCI Express port available,
hold up, let me grab one.
You can get one on Amazon for cheap.
Hold on.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
So the parallel port is that port on the back of your tough book that you plug AR-32 into?
I know what that is.
Okay, so you can buy a PCI Express expansion card, which will plug into the motherboard of your PC.
Okay.
And it will give you that port on the back of your PC.
Huh.
Now, the only stipulation running that is it's got to run in 32-bit, not 64-bit. So either you make the decision that you're going to run your OS in 32-bit, and you can run Windows 10 or Windows 7 with AR-32, or you make the decision that you're going to boot from a flash drive. And what I've done is decided to boot from a flash drive for AR-32, and then I boot back into Windows on 64-bit for the performance when I'm doing, when I'm going to decrypt those files that I've read from AR-32. So when I use them in the Tango and stuff. Yeah, like when I want to load Tango or DVDI2 or any of that shit, I just boot back into Windows, not from the flash drive. I'm booting from the hard drive.
I am completely computer illiterate, 100%. So
yeah, I don't think there's.
If you got a
there's nothing there. There's nothing in there.
There's no PCI slots.
No, there's no PCI slots.
Yeah, so you're not running AR-32 on that thing.
Which would suck. That would be nice. If so, I would.
Yeah, because that would awesome. Be pretty cool. And it will not work with a USB adapter.
What do you think about AR-32? Do you use it a lot?
Who, me?
Yes.
No.
I used AR-32
because I've never got it. I've never got the stupid thing. Like, I've got the port replicator, but I never built a 6420 or something older Dell to use it.
So
it's like one of those things.
Do you have a modern PC with a PCI Express slot available?
Well, yeah, I got mine down here. I could just use it.
Yeah, throw one in your computer. You can buy them on Amazon for like $12, and then load the AR-32 software onto a flash drive. And then when you turn the computer on, you boot from flash drive instead of from the hard drive, and you're up and running.
I got this bad boy right there, baby.
Oh yeah.
What's that? UPA?
TL866 or something.
Yeah.
Was it the? I don't know. The TL866 too. Then I've used it. This was my first EEPROM reader.
Is that a Wellen?
Yeah. Was that good old guy. And then this is the new one, so I haven't really fooled with this any, but I bought this one. Which is
What is that?
That's the new one that replaced the TL66. This is the T48.
Oh, okay.
And I think I bought the next one up too. And then I've got a couple other little cheapo ones like
I bet he's got the USB one.
Doesn't Russell Davies have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I've seen it before.
the what?
The little USB dongle that plugs in. That's
Yeah, a little USB EEPROM.
That one?
Yep.
Here, hold on. Go full screen. Here, I want to see it again. Yeah, I think that's it. That looks like it.
I don't know.
Sure,
I mean, I seriously just buy things. If it's less than $100, I just buy it, and I don't even think about it. But, but I also did a bunch of stuff. Like I bought for Black Friday. I done a Black Friday deal on some stuff, and I bought a ton of the Go Diag deals. The Go Diag boxes.
Yeah.
I was and here's the funny part is I was selling them cheaper than China was selling them at Black Friday. And someone was nice enough to snitch me out to my supplier.
What an asshole.
Oh shit, we lost him. Shit. Oh no.
You didn't kill him? Oh no, you didn't kill him. He just disappeared.
No, I accidentally hit a button. Hold on, JK. I apologize for that. I hit the wrong fucking button, and that is not good. We are going to get him back in T-minus 30 seconds.
Look,
I did that.
Jeremy said I got a movie theater in my van.
Yeah.
It's condensed now in the new van because of different circumstances, but now I've slimmed down. I've got two 27-inch monitors now instead of a 40-inch TV hanging off the wall. But I kind of miss the big TV. I might put it back in there.
All right, let's see if he rejoins us real quick. JK, if you are there, I see you've read my message. I don't know what button I pressed, but I've accidentally kicked you from the stream. So
you are sounding like a robot right now.
I'm back.
All the internet's gone to hell. Jared sounds like a robot.
Yep.
There you go.
Let me see what's going on here. Is he back?
No, he is not quite back yet. Paul says that's a new way to conclude an interview.
I know, that sure is. Well, shit. I wonder what I did.
I don't know. I don't know if you did it or well. I don't know. The guy's pretty fucking smart. He's pretty sophisticated. I'm not sure that he would even have the equipment capable of dropping a fucking connection.
Yeah. I think my internet dropped a connection or something like that. I don't exactly know what's going on. Well, I think it's a good place to conclude an interview. I want you guys to check out JK's group. He's pretty damn smart. I enjoyed my time with him. There's a lot going on with that guy right there. A lot that he can offer. I'm going to see if I can try to get him in Texas at the TLA. Maybe he can teach some programming, some ECU programming, something like that. But until then, huh?
I said that would be pretty cool if we can.
Here he is. Okay.
Pop in.
Yeah. So you killed me.
I don't know what I did.
So how would you feel? Jared just brought up about teaching in Texas. If we can get that approved.
Where at?
TLA.
Yeah, I'm
best
down.
freaking convention ever.
Yeah, I'm down.
You're down?
I think it would be something cool.
Yeah.
What's up with that? What does this say right here? What the hell does this mean? I'm Snoo Sue FBS4. I'm on all fours. That sounds like a personal problem to me.
I don't know. That's some Mercedes-Benz troll on something. Who the fuck
Yeah.
knows? We know damn well they
I'm
haven't
Sue.
cracked
I'm on
FPS4.
all fours. Ooh.
Hey,
Sounds like a
Locksmith
good time.
Jeremy said that China got you. That's what happened.
That probably it would not doubt. I would not
Yeah,
doubt.
China cut you off, man. They were
China,
like,
China, China. I got a kidney stone, and I told. So when I went under, I was like, so I had a kidney stone around that time, and I remember going under, and I was just looking at all of them, and just going like, okay, there's no Chinese nationals in the room. I think I'm good to go. I'm good to go under.
Yeah, you'll wake up with 2 inches less.
I'm like, they'll take me out. The Chinese are gonna take me out. They're like, we don't like this guy. He's like tinfoil hat type dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are approaching 3 hours and 30 minutes. I think now is a good time to conclude the interview. I'm glad that you're back with us. So I want you to shout out anything and everything that you want people to know about you.
Very much no. I'm just J.K. Walker, and I am the PCM guy. I'm the guy who, and I'm really known. I don't think mostly is what I'm known for is like the HB Tender stuff. But I am the module guy. I'm the module don. You know, like, I mean, just look. This is like what I've bought in the past week.
You pretty good with OLS Wintune?
The what now?
The OLS software?
No, I don't. That's not. You know, I haven't really got into that because it seems like most of that stuff is for the Euro market.
Okay, I'm just curious.
And the sprinters and the deletes, and I stay far away from the delete stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You
don't want to make you don't want to make the EPA mad.
Yeah.
Okay. That will end you really quick. So I try to stay away from many of that stuff. The gas stuff they really don't mind, but when you start doing that diesel stuff, they come down on you pretty quickly. Yeah. So I try to stay over that. Matt Norton says gray matter. I don't know. That guy's like he must be on some good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
give me some of that. But no, I do. But
block him.
But any of those people that were asking about like training, right? Because I know one of those guys was asking about training. You can email me at J2534subs. That's J2534 subs at gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with me, and I'll get you my cell phone number. I just don't want to post my cell phone number to every single person here because people think they can call me about, like, you know, my car don't start or something like that.
So your email again was J2534?
Yeah, J2534.
Subs
subs yeah, subs at gmail.com. So if you guys want to give me that, I will, you know, I do personalized training. So if there's something that you want specifically for your business or your group of guys, if you need someone to come in and help you mentor you as far as, you know, sit you down, show you how to make the business model work of programming and how to fit that into your business and show you what equipment you need to buy, things like that, you know, I can help you in regards to that. So, but definitely, and also if any of you out there, if you know you're a part of any events that you would like me to speak at, you know, do one of my module classes or something like that, just let me know and we can make something happen.
Yeah, I think that would be exciting. Shit, if you teach a class and I'm in the area, I will definitely partake.
Well, people say I'm good at it.
Stuff, and I'll partake because I can tell you when it comes to this, I already know you're smarter than I am.
Yeah. So people say my classes are good, but to me they're average because I've been listening to myself talk for way too long.
well, we feel the same.
Always room for improvement, right?
Yeah. Because I'm like, I guess I don't know if it's any good or not.
At the end of every break, at the end of every class, the three of us go out and critique each other.
Yeah, we all talk shit. Yep. You did this wrong. You did this wrong. You did this good. You did that good. You know, it's good. It's good to be critical.
Yeah. It is, and you know, to not repeat the same thing over and over and over and over, because it just you know, it won't necessarily curtail to every single student you have in the class.
Right. It takes practice to adapt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you have to be
JK,
adaptable, as he says.
it was a pleasure. I thank you. It was great getting to know you, and cheers to
Ain't
the
no problem.
future. And I hope I see you a lot more.
Ain't no
Yeah,
problem. Y'all
man.
have a nice day
You too.
or nice night. Sleep good.
Yeah. Good morning.
Make sure to
Yeah.
have dreams about me.
Yeah, I probably will. All right. Take care, brother.
Ain't no problem.
We'll be dreaming about the Chinese tonight.
Yeah. I'll be trying to figure out what I did wrong, accidentally dropping him from the stream. But hey, I thought that was a pretty good interview. I learned a lot, to be completely honest, and definitely eye-opening revelations in regards to how available tools are, and why perhaps the government is pretty pissed off about it. That was most shocking to me, at least.
Yeah, I learned some stuff too. That was really good.
I've never in my life just looked up the tools that I already own on Amazon and just seen just the flood of ads and how they're written to attract, the people who are not, educated about the subject. So
Yeah, how easily and readily available they are.
yeah, all that catch phraseology and stuff. So
yeah, and I
it's
mean they're
pretty
full-on
crazy.
security tools.
So Kim, Amanda, president and second vice president of the TLA. I hope you watch this. I hope you take it seriously. I think that J.K. Walker would do a great job teaching in Austin in October. Certainly, if he was a competing teacher against me, I would probably refer many people I know to him. I believe that he has a lot to offer the future locksmith in regards to programming.
Yeah, you can always, if you've got that good intuition, you can tell when somebody's full of shit, and you
Yes.
can tell when somebody's very smart.
Yes.
That guy's very smart. He knows,
and he admits his faults.
Yeah.
So
And he'll be the first to say, "Hey, look, I don't dick around with European cars."
yeah, and a lot of people want to be that guy, and he's not pretending to be that guy. So you got to respect that on face value alone. So
yeah, exactly.
definitely.
And there's no matter what it is, there's no matter where you live. We live in the United States. There's a huge market for Ford, Chrysler, and GM. So I don't care what market you're in. If you're in the United States, there's still a big market for our domestic cars made here.
And there should always be, there should always be.
Yeah, because I like it seems that's his primary focus. That's where he's really good at, and I think that those, and honestly, in my opinion, from what I've done, is between those and Asians, the domestic ones are actually kind of a little bit harder to mess around with than the Asian ones. Now, the European ones, you're jumping into a whole nother bucket, but between the two, I would absolutely, as somebody who still does this stuff day to day, I would take his class in a heartbeat, because I know I would learn something in his class.
And not only that, I feel like it happens a lot whenever information that we know can go across a different field of specialty, right? Like my EEPROM knowledge, I can read the combination out of a safe lock or whatever, just messing around or doing things, right? I can probably clone modules based on my EEPROM knowledge, but this man has a different arsenal of tools and a different approach often, and a different reason why he even needs to do the work. So I find it really intriguing. Like, if Mitsubishi, oftentimes a keyed ignition we can't do versus a prox we can do, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder sometimes maybe if somebody like him could explain why, or even help crack a system that's uncracked. So I don't know. I want to get to know JK a little bit better. I want to explore what he knows, and I kind of want to be more like him, I think.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
Definitely.
Well, Eric, I say it's about time to conclude this. I love you, brother. And until next time.
All right, man.
And to everybody who joined us for this 3.5 hours, thank you for viewing. I love you too, but not as much as him. So join us next time for Locksmith Late. Who knows who I'll
Production
have?
value will be better next weekend. I'm moving, just so you
Eric's
guys know.
moving.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to the big house, okay?
And
Going to the big house.
I forgot to pay my internet bill. So that could be a reason why JK got lost. we won't exclude it. But coming up in a month or two, I'm going to have John DeMont from AR Labs, and he's the inventor of the AR-32, and he runs Andromeda Labs. So John DeMont is one of my personal inspirations. The guy has nothing to do with me, but I study him and everything he does. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be something I hope is interesting. John, if you're watching, audio quality, please. I want to hear you. You got a deep voice. You're very interesting. I want the people to know about you, your tool, your past, your work with IBM and everything. So, if you get bored easily, it's going to be high detail, very technical. Be prepared because I cannot wait for this. What about you, Eric? Are you excited about it?
I am actually. I'm very excited because I use the AR-32 as well. I mean, shit, you were on the phone with me when I impulse bought it while I was drunk.
I can't wait. I can't
but
wait.
I love the tool ever since I've owned it. It's no matter how rudimentary the job is, if it starts with a 93 AR-32, you know what I mean?
Straight. If it's an MSOP AR-32 with precision probes and circuit, and people call me crazy, but I do it quicker than them. So
exactly.
Eric,
exactly.
See you again, and have a good night. All right.
You too.